Rodriguez, the catcher, batting third. The cleanup hitter tonight at second base for the Wildcats, number 12, Jesus Venegas. Venegas, the cleanup hitter at second base. Batting fifth tonight, your designated hitter, number 5, Michael Rodriguez. Rodriguez, the DH. Batting sixth at third base, number 29, George Gonzalez Fabo. Fabo at third base. Batting seventh tonight at first base, number 11, Ronaldo Plasencia. Plasencia at first base. Batting eighth for the Cats at shortstop, number 2, Jeter Boyedo. Boyedo at shortstop. And rounding out the batting order for the Wildcats in center field, number 19, Sergio Rivera. Rivera at center field. Your starting pitcher in game number 2 for the Wildcats, right-hander number 32, Joel Corey. Corey, the starting pitcher for Bethune-Cookman. Head coach of the Cats is Johnny Hernandez. Assistant coaches, Eric Cartaya, Joe Sanchez, and Hunter Allen. Ladies and gentlemen, before we do tonight's national anthem, we'd like to take a small moment of silence for yesterday's tragedies in our state capital up in Tallahassee. We take a moment to remember those yesterday. Thank you. At this time, we ask that you please stand. Gentlemen, remove your caps. Veterans, you may cover as we honor our nation with the playing of the national anthem.
Well, live from Sanford Memorial Stadium in Sanford, Florida, it's time for the second of a 3-game series between rivals and conference leaders Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M. The Wildcats took game 1 of the series last night 8-3 and are looking to take a series win over Florida A&M at home for the 3rd consecutive year. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Torello. Happy to have your company. Bryce Wynowski joins me from the press box. And Bryce, after Tanner Bocabello was every bit the SWAC preseason pitcher of the year he was promised to be last night, a lot is riding on the sophomore Joel Corey because in his last couple of starts he's been knocked around a bit, and you know these FAMU bats are itching to get back after a rough night last night.
Yeah, and if Bocabello did one thing good last night, he avoided, really in my mind, making this feel like a rivalry game, right? I mean, you were in control just about the entire game from the very start. Of course, the bats did you some favors to help you get there, but we don't want to overstate how good of a tone setter Bocabello was last night. And Joel Corey is, his greats have been great. His less than that have gotten pretty low during the course of this season, and it's kind of one of those things where if you told me that she could get anything close to one of those top performances tonight, you can put the whole rest of the season aside because you need this one. He's got the stuff. We know he does. He's got the velocity. He's got the defense behind him. We know he's going to have the bats if we know anything about what happened last night, so we should be in for another good one.
Well, Corey's given up hits and he's given up runs. He's taken a no decision in 3 of his last 5 outings, especially last 2 weeks. He gave up 5 runs on 10 hits to Mississippi Valley, a game the Wildcats had to walk off in the 9th, and then last week at Alabama A&M, a little bit better, 3 runs on 6 hits, but all of those runs except one have been earned, and the strikeout numbers have not been as solid as they were earlier in the year. 5 Ks 2 weeks ago, 4 Ks last week. I mean, you're not going to ask him to go out and throw 11, 12, 10 like he did the first 3 games of the season, but a little bit more swings and misses probably needed tonight against the very good Florida A&M lineup.
Yeah, and like we said, the stuff's going to play. We know it is, but this is a FAMU team that's very, very well coached. They're very smart. They're very patient hitters. We talked about it last night. They haven't scored a ton of runs on the year as a team, maybe a little bit something we haven't expected. But when they do, and they are smart, they're methodical, they know the moment, and they're not going to let it get too big for them.
William Brown stands in for Florida A&M to lead things off. He was 1 for 4 with a walk last night with 2 strikeouts. On the season, Brown batting .272. 24 runs on 31 hits, 3 doubles, and he puts one in the air, left field and deep. First pitch. It's a fair ball and it's gone. 1 pitch and William Brown hits his team-leading 8th home run of the season, 1-0 Florida A&M.
Well, and I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking that I thought this very well could have been a possibility. And I don't just mean a solo home run, but we know FAMU is not one that's going to take lightly what happened to them last night by their rival, especially in stakes as high as it is this weekend. But we got to preach the same message to Corey as we have to Tanner Bocabello, which is you can let it get to you early, but got to settle in. You got to put your bats in a chance to pick you up.
Home run number 37 on the year for Florida A&M. They sit 6th in the SWAC in home runs. The Wildcats lead that category with 57. 57 home runs, which is kind of wild. And immediately, Brody Popple is going to be put on first base. So not a great start for Joel Corey. And we have seen him blow up before. Alcorn State, first conference series, gave up 6 runs in the first 2 innings before being pulled. Now here's Jay Campbell. Campbell, second best hitter on this team by average, .333. 23 runs on 34 hits, 7 doubles, that's a team high. A triple, 3 homers, and 20 batted in. That's the first pitch that actually is going to count as a ball or a strike for Joel Corey, and it's 1-0. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball drops away from the bat of Jay Campbell. Bethune-Cookman tonight, maroon caps, maroon jerseys, white pants with the maroon pinstripe. Gold numbers with a white trim, Wildcats in gold across the front. 1-1. In the dirt, 2-1. Wildcats look a little bit different tonight. Corey is pitching. Jorge Rodriguez goes to the catcher spot in replace of Irvin Escobar. And to replace Rodriguez as first, Ray Plasencia comes in. The rest of the lineup the same from last night. Fabo Poyeto Venegas in the infield left to right. Lee Rivera Martinez outfield left to right. 2-1. High pop, foul territory towards the FAMU dugout, and that will go foul out of play. 2-2. It's important that Corey put this behind him pretty quickly because 1 run the Wildcats can deal with. If he starts looking like he has against Alcorn or against Florida Gulf Coast where he gave up 11 runs in 4 innings, then we could be in for a rough night.
And that's what it takes to be successful on the weekends, right, is playing that long game and really just being able to settle things down.
2-2. Outside, full count.
The beginning of the season, we worried a lot if Corey was maybe selling out for the strikeout too often after his first couple weeks. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I'm not quite sure if it's just maybe a ceiling of being a full-time starter for the first year.
Swing and a miss. Ball on the ground, called a foul tip. So Jay Campbell will stay in and face another one on a full count from Corey. FAMU tonight, all orange. Orange hats, orange jerseys. White pants, green numbers with a white trim. FAMU across the front in green. Full count. One on, nobody out. One already in here in the top of the first. Upstairs, ball 4. So home run, hit by pitch, walk. 2 on, nobody out. The batter is Josue Figueroa.
It's certainly not an ideal start by any means. I mean, how many times do we preach that as great as the strikeouts can be, you got to let your defense work, and when you're not even throwing pitches that have been too competitive, giving them all kinds of upper hand. Wildcats defense last night, going back a few weeks now, has been really excellent. I mean, there hasn't really been any glaring holes, but you got to give them a chance to get the ball.
2 on, nobody out. Squaring to bunt is Josue Figueroa, the first baseman. He puts it down third base side. Charging is Fabo. He'll go to first. That's 1 out in the inning, but the runners move across to second and third. Popple to third, Campbell to second.
I think we're due to see plenty of that from both sides potentially tonight again like we did last night. This doesn't on paper feel to be any kind of slugfest. So I know both these coaching staffs just want to try to scrape them by any means necessary. That's why you see the bunt drop down there. Wildcats did it half a dozen times last night, it felt like.
Here's Justin Cruz, 1 for 3 last night with a fielder's choice. First pitch low and away, ball 1. And you can tell Corey, after giving up that first pitch home run, he's really scared of leaving one down the middle as he misses outside again.
There's got to be a point where you trust your stuff. You can't rely on location every time, especially when you're struggling a little bit.
That time he misses the bat. Cruz swings and misses. The only 2 swings and misses so far for the Rattlers have been on that breaking ball. Rattlers threatening to break this one open in the first. Ball in the dirt. 3-1, and Corey in danger of loading them up. Cruz, a .319 hitter on the year, 3-1. Ground ball towards third. Fabo looks the runners back and throws to first in time. And Cruz didn't even go to first. He went halfway up the line. Did they call that a foul ball? Coach Shoup wants it to be a foul ball. So we'll see. Cruz is still hanging around in the batter's box. And now the umpires will converge to see if it was a foul ball.
Well, again, I think we're due for another courtesy conversation here, because you'd like to figure if the third base official saw it as foul, he would have overruled or at the very least given his opinion to this point. So I think it's just your due diligence. So
it looked pretty clear to me off the bat. Ground ball towards third. And a good job by Fabo in that situation to look the runners back first before throwing over. And I don't know. I think part of it's on Cruz, as he is going to be out. And there's 2 away. Part of it's on Cruz for, I think he thought it was foul and didn't even run to first, which made the play very simple for Fabo over at third. So
and as much as Shoup will argue for his guy, right, there's still going to be a little bit of frustration when you're not running balls like that out.
Now here's Ben Kim batting .281. 21 runs on 27 hits, 4 doubles, 2 triples, 1 homer, and 15 batted in. Has a chance for 1 or 2 more here with Popple on third, Campbell on second, and 2 down. Strike called outside corner from the sophomore righty Joel Corey. And we have to remember, just the sophomore Corey. 0-1. In the air, center field, tracking back Rivera. He will make the catch on the move near the track to end the inning. So FAMU only gets 1. The leadoff homer by William Brown. They strand 2, and the Wildcats trail as they come to the plate. They trail for the first time in this series. 1-0 FAMU going to the bottom of the first here on the CatEye Network.
Set to lead things off for the Wildcats.
1-0 Florida A&M. Here we go to the bottom of the first, and I guess the bright spot, Brian, or Bryce, is it's only one.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what we called for, right? About as bad as you can start. Looked even worse, and then you settled it down.
First pitch, outside strike from Jesus Campa, the senior from El Paso, Texas. And if that name sounds familiar, well, he's faced the Wildcats before. A 0-1 to Lee. Lee in the air, right field, and foul.
Oh, boy.
That one went about as far as a baseball can go out of here, just the wrong direction.
Yep, it was over the wall, just about 50 feet to the right of the foul pole.
Yeah, and now Lee's behind 0-2. Jesus Campa last year pitched with Mississippi Valley. Lee stays alive, foul first base side. Was the top pitcher on that Valley staff last year, and now over here at Florida A&M. 27 innings pitched for Campa on the year, 0-2. Upstairs, 1-2. His ERA is 6.59. He's given up 26 runs on 36 hits, 20 earned. Striking out 20 and walking 14. Here's the 1-2. Lee, pop fly, left field down the line. Long run for Kim. He dives, and he can't make the play in foul territory, so Lee will see another 1-2 pitch. Campa's given up 7 doubles, 1 triple, 3 homers. He's thrown 3 wild pitches and 3 hit by pitches. Once again, his ERA 6.59. And his opponent batting average is all the way up at 324. So someone the Wildcats have seen in the past. The guys who were on this team last year. 1-2. Lee stays alive again. And statistically, could be looked at as someone the Wildcats could tee off on. But you never know. He's got a run of support already from his offense. The 4th time, the 1-2. Up and in, 2-2, almost got Lee in the shoulder. Darrell Lee batting .360 on the year. Leads the team in stolen base attempts. And he's going to work the count full 3-2.
I mean, that's your leadoff guy right there. You fall behind early, you force some pitches, foul some off, work your way back in, and now you got a shot.
Lee off the end of the bat, opposite field. That's tailing back towards the wall, and it's out of here! Adios, amigos. Darrell Lee, an oppo taco, and it's 1-1.
Well, we'll get back to what we talked about with Coach Hernandez right when we started this series. Was, man, Coach, it's a bummer we don't get to play these at Jackie Robinson Ballpark. And he said, no thanks. I'd rather keep them here. And with the way that thing, with that wind is blowing those balls out to left field, you just got to put one in the air with a little bit of pace on it, and it flies over. And Darrell Lee did exactly that. Again, credit to a great at-bat, working his way back in. We saw the hard contact early and finally made him pay.
Here's Andre Martinez. Leads the SWAC in home runs. Andre Martinez at 14, hit number 14 last night. In the first inning, that gave the Wildcats a 2-1 lead. First pitch, a strike outside corner. Martinez batting .381, 40 runs on 43 hits, 8 doubles, 14 homers, 43 RBI. He leads this Wildcats team in pretty much every offensive statistical category. But he watches one down the middle, and he's down 0-2. Jesus Campa last year at Mississippi Valley had a 7.38 ERA and 46 innings pitched, and he gets Andre Martinez to strike out. I think Andre Martinez was just looking to follow in the footsteps of Darrell Lee and do what he did last week at this ballpark. 5 out of here in a series.
Yeah, you got to be careful as a team, and that goes for both sides. Not to see that wind, see that wall, see that big 330 over there and get a little bit too enamored with it. And you can win games that way, but it can also get pretty frustrating pretty quick.
First pitch, strike outside corner. Jose Revuelta is behind the plate tonight. Jose Esteras at first base, Arthur Thigpen at third. 0-1. Skips to the backstop, 1-1. 2 times Campa faced Bethune-Cookman last year, both in the same series at the Jack, both out of the bullpen. Came in and completed 2/3 of an inning, got out of it, didn't allow a run, didn't allow a hit, struck out 2. But then came back the next day. Here's the 1-1. So big swing and miss by Rodriguez on the breaking stuff by Campa, 1-2. The next day came back, just went 1/3 of an inning, gave up 5 runs on no hits with 4 walks and 4 wild pitches. 1-2. Rodriguez slowly on the ground to third, bobbled by Perez. That's an error, and Rodriguez is safe.
And we know that this Wildcats team has consistently been one of the best at making you pay for mistakes. Just 1 out on the board here, plenty of time to drive that run in, and that's how you really make FAMU strip away all that momentum that they had coming out of the gate. You've already taken a lot of it back, and you can really take the wind out of the sails if you can make an error come back to roost.
That's a tough one for Florida A&M. These two teams consistently tops in the conference in fielding percentage. Bethune-Cookman tied for first right now. Florida A&M right behind them. Up and in, ball 1 to Jesus Venegas. The Wildcats are tied with Texas Southern with a .963 fielding percentage. Florida A&M comes into the afternoon .959. Venegas hasn't really had a great week. He's ahead 2-0 though. Went 0 for 4 against UNF on Tuesday. Then last night went 1 for 4 with a double and a run scored. Did pick up 2 RBI though. He's got a runner on first and 1 out. Watches 1 up and in. 3 balls, no strikes. You think the Wildcats are happy that they only used 1 bullpen arm last night?
It's huge in series like this. It's absolutely massive.
3-0. Ball 4. Missed up and in. Venegas takes his base. 2 on, 1 out. So now the Wildcats are in the exact same spot that Florida A&M was in at the top of the first. Home run, out, easy one, and 2 easy ones. Two walks in the Wildcats' case, an error and a walk in FAMU's case, and 2 on, 1 out.
Yeah, we're going to have a really quick conversation with the pitching coach, the pitching staff over at Florida A&M. And again, this is a pretty make-or-break moment in this series, right? If you could put a crooked number up early, especially after you mentioned the bullpen light usage last night, the Wildcats are going to be pretty liberal, I think, tonight when it comes to working out of the pen, because as much as you'd like to say, yeah, we'd love to save arms for tomorrow, winning the series is important. I mean, it's hard to sweep any series. And if you have a chance to take the second one tonight, you don't want to have to, leave it up to the odds of, well, will the bats come to the park tomorrow? Will Edwin Sanchez start well tomorrow? If you can put them up early, then you have a bunch of guys ready to go in that pen. You're in really good shape. So take care of business now, put a bunch on, you're in business.
Here's Michael Rodriguez getting the designated hitter spot today. 2 on, 1 out. Righty to lefty. Campa deals away outside, ball 1. Rodriguez batting .281 on the year. 25 starts. And this is game 39 of the season. 20 runs on 25 hits, 7 doubles for Rodriguez. Watches another one outside. 5 straight balls from Jesus Campa. May I remind you of that stat line the second time he played Bethune-Cookman last year as a member of Mississippi Valley. 5 runs, no hits, 4 walks, 4 wild pitches in 2/3 of an inning. And already we've got action in the bullpen for Florida A&M. Cody Williams, he pitched last night, right? Yeah, he came on and pitched last night. Pitched 2 innings.
You're seeing the quick hook. I don't want to call it desperation, but this is a really important game. You're talking about a swing game in a series. This is really important for both sides. FAMU drops this one, then you're looking up and you're facing potential disaster with a sweep on Sunday. We know Sunday games, or in this case Saturday. It's
Third
always
games, yeah.
Right. It's who knows what can happen. You never know, and so you really have to take care of business when you have the opportunity, and neither side is going to let this one slip away.
The wind is blowing out towards left at about 16-mile-per-hour gusts. That's what helped the 2 home runs leave the yard. 1-1 here, 1 out. Rodriguez looks at the 7th straight ball from Jesus Campa. 3-0. Trevor Hanselman is also down there in the Florida A&M bullpen. 3-0. Rodriguez watches it. It's a strike. And he'll step out of the box. Now got to go to work at 3-1. Michael Rodriguez is someone who dazzled in his limited appearances as a freshman and has been handed the reins in some tough spots as a sophomore. But he'll watch strike 2 just clip the bottom of the zone, 3-2.
I don't mind the approach there. Just force Compa to throw the strike, even if it means a couple of tough takes. You don't get that luxury anymore, though. You got to be pretty selective.
Now it's a full count. Compa comes home with it. And he swings and misses, does Michael Rodriguez. 2 away, 2 strikeouts for Compa. Inside fastball got him. And the batter is Jorge Gonzalez-Fabo.
I mean, that's a really nice pitch in a really big spot. You had 2, you pumped pretty close to the zone. That one you stay in, but you go down and low. And on that inside edge, it's a really tough one to lay off. Couldn't even get a piece of it there.
Jorge Gonzalez-Fabo in a little bit of a slump right now. Would love to get out of it. Batting .314 on the year. 17 runs on 22 hits. 9 batted in. 1-0 from Compa. Big cut and miss. Way out ahead of that off speed was Fabo. And as wild as Compa has been, he's gotten 2 strikeouts so far in this first inning. And he's close to getting another one as Fabo misses at the breaking ball.
Yeah, you know, we talked a little bit last night about Fabo maybe needing that drop in the lineup a bit, take a little bit of pressure off. Well, might have been dropped in the order, but still getting handed the same amount of pressure. This is a really big spot.
1-2, pops out of the glove of Popple behind the plate. Runners will advance to second and third. And the count is 2-2. Now pressure mounts again on Fabo. Because something on the green bit beyond the infield will score 2 here. Rodriguez at third, Venegas at second. 1 in on the inning on the Lee home run, 1-1 ball game. Outside ball 3. I'm going to say the same thing about Campa that I said about Corre. The fastball doesn't look like he has much command over it, but the breaking stuff has been excellent. So on 3-2, I bet he goes back to the off-speed. Here it comes. Fabo off the inside of the bat foul territory. Look out, Coach Allen down there at first base side. We had Coach Hernandez get hit with a Jorge Gonzalez-Fabo foul ball last night.
Tried attacking very similar way he did to Rodriguez the at bat before. Tried to go inside, force the swing. Fabo there just quick enough to make a little piece of contact. Good defensive swing.
Once again, the full count delivery to Fabo. Upstairs, ball 4. That was close, but a good take by Fabo. And a good at-bat, too, because he was down 0-2 and worked a walk. So now the bases are loaded here with 2 outs in the first, and the batter is Ray Plasencia. Talk about being thrown off the bench and into the fire. Ray Plasencia making the spot start at first today. Did score 2 runs on a hit against UNF on Tuesday night, Plasencia. Breaking ball drops into the inside corner, 0-1 from Jesus Compa.
He scored 7 of them against Alabama A&M last week. Shows you a lot about the depth of this lineup, the depth of the guys you can bring up off the bench.
Plasencia fouls one away off the end of the bat, 0-2. Well, if this is how we're going to play this entire game, Bryce, I may have a heart attack by the end of it. This is only the first inning.
It's certainly a different look than yesterday when there was a lot of big whiffs, a lot of strikeouts, a lot of quick contact.
0-2. Plasencia just barely stays alive, taps it straight back to the screen. There's Tanner Bocabello, who was magnificent last night, being ball boy. Once again, Campa is 0-2 to Plasencia, 2 outs, bases juiced. Plasencia fouls it off again. On the year, Plasencia batting .313, just 48 at-bats, 18 runs on 15 hits, 3 doubles, a triple, and 5 batted in. For the 3rd time, the 0-2 pitch. Outside, missed with the slider, 1-2. Already 33 pitches in this first inning from Jesus Campa. Does not bode well if he wants to go deep in this one. 1-2. Strike 3, Placencia goes down looking on the inside corner. He didn't agree with the call, but that's the end of the inning. The Wildcats score a run on the home run by Darrell Lee, but leave him loaded, and it's 1-1 as we go to the 2nd here on the CatEye Network.
Third baseman, number 10, Matthew Perez.
Well, after a very eventful first inning, we go to the 2nd tied at 1. Matthew Perez leads off for Florida A&M. Joel Corey gets him to swing and a miss at a fastball down and in. Perez last night, 1 for 4, had an RBI double back in the 8th, but scored the 3rd of the 3 Rattler runs. But Perez currently down 0-2. Important to have a big settle-down inning for Joel Corey here. Misses low, hits the top of the plate. Corey, for all the eventfulness that happened in that first inning, only threw 16 pitches. 1-2, breaking ball got away from him in the dirt, 2-2. This is what you can't do. You can't get up in counts and then be completely uncompetitive and let a guy back in.
Yeah, everything he's throwing on the outside is missing pretty badly.
High pop on the infield first base side. Calling for it is Venegas, and he'll put it away for out number 1.
Good bit of communication there. A little uneasy, I think. Placencia over there at first was calling for quite a while before Venegas finally kind of gave him the supersede second baseman card.
These late afternoon games are so tough because if you're looking right into the sun as it sets to the left-hand side of the plate. Off the end of the bat, fouled away first base side. First pitch to Jordan Brown. Brown didn't play last night. Count 1-1. He's batting .250 on the season, Brown. Just 40 at-bats. Nice frame job by Rodriguez behind the plate. Pick up a strike on 1-2. 5 runs on 10 hits for Jordan Brown. His only extra base hit was a triple. Spiked to the plate 2-2 by Corey. That triple was against Mississippi Valley last week. In a series where FAMU lost the opening game, which is the reason why the Wildcats have the opportunity this week. 2-2. Chop foul behind the plate. We'll do it again. To take the lead in the SWAC with a series win. They currently have a half-game lead over FAM right now.
You always got to take care of business against those teams, your Mississippi Valley States, your Alcorn States. I mean, they'll steal some from you.
2-2. Just below the knees. Count goes full. Corey, after allowing the opening home run to William Brown, then hit Popple by a pitch and walked Campbell. Full count. Outside, ball 4. And the third free pass of the game already for Joel Corey here in the second inning.
It's been a very different start offensively for both sides, and part of that's credit to the pitching, or I should say discredit to the pitching. A lot of tougher pitches, a lot of walks, but everybody was free swinging last night. You can see all the excitement of the first game of the weekend is kind of worn off. Everybody's settling in, been a lot more patient. It's going to be a very different looking game tonight.
Jalen Niles, ground ball to short, could be 2. Flip to second for 1. On to first. It's a double play, and the Wildcats get out of the inning with some nifty infield defense. No runs, no hits, no one left. We go to the bottom of the second. 1-1 here in Sanford between the Wildcats and the Rattlers here on the CatEye Network. Bottom 2 we go, 1-1 ball game here in Sanford. Nice double play by the Wildcat defense to get out of the top of the second, and we'll see Jeter Poyeto stand in. Poyeto sealed the Wildcats' victory last night with a 3-run bomb to left field back in the 7th inning. At the time, it made it 8-2. As he watches a first pitch low from Jesus Campa, who isn't going to be long for the game if he's throwing 40 pitches an inning, Bryce.
Yeah, the bullpen activity for the time being has sat back down, but I think it'll only take one base runner, certainly one walk, before it starts churning up again.
That one in at the knees. Poyeto on the season batting .273, hit his 3rd home run of the year last night. He looks at the 1-1, way outside. This is at bat number 100 on the year for Jeter Poyeto. 20 runs on 27 hits, 6 doubles, 4 triples, 3 homers, and 30 batted in. 2-1 from Kempa. Watches a strike. I've noticed through the first inning and a half that Jose Revuelta behind the plate has a very generous inside corner. 2-2. Poyeto in the air to center field, tracking his Cruz. He'll put that one away, 1 down.
Yeah, thankfully for the outfields for both sides. Unlike the Jack, the wind doesn't tend to swirl here as much, so it's pretty straight away. I mean, it's definitely strong today out to left, but it's pretty straight away, so you can kind of gauge it. That one tails quite a bit away at the very end of it, but not enough for the catch to be made.
Here's Sergio Rivera looking for a bounce-back game after going 0 for 4 last night, but did have a 3-run home run against UNF on Tuesday. First pitch, escapes to the backstop, a ball and no strikes. Rivera on the year, 278, his batting average. 29 runs on 20 hits, 5 doubles, 2 triples, 2 homers, and 20 RBI. Rivera watches strike one. I bring up all the time about Sergio Rivera. He was preseason All-SWAC, and for a while couldn't get a look in the order because the roster was so deep, but he has carved himself out of place there in center field over the last month or so. 1-1. Check swing, called a strike anyway, outside corner.
You talk about veteran leadership and the kind of mentality that's going to be so impactful when you get to the tournament in a month or so. It's that. It's a guy that saw his role slipping away and put it upon himself to bring it back.
Fouls one away to stay alive, and that's the main reason why Jesus Campa's pitch count was so elevated. How many at-bats went 5, 6, 7 pitches with a ton of foul balls? In the Jorge Gonzalez Fable walk, where he was down 0-2, fouled off a bunch, and eventually walked. 1-2 again. Rivera backs out of the box. And the power called it a ball, 2-2. He would have looked silly if it had been across the plate.
It reminds me of those old David Ortiz at bats when he knew ball 4 was coming and he'd just step out and start taking his gloves off as the pitcher was starting to deliver.
2-2. That one caught the outside corner, strike 3. Already the 4th strikeout for Jesus Campa. That's been his thing. He's given up some. He gave up the home run, 2 walks, an error behind it, but he has struck the Wildcats out. 3 in the first, now 1 in the second, 2 looking. Back to the top of the order, here's Darrell Lee, who flicked one into the jet stream opposite field, out for a home run his first time up, checks his swing. He went around, says the third base umpire Arthur Thigpen, and it's 0-1.
Well, if you're living by the strikeout, even if you're being consistently successful with it, still going to get that pitch count up. I'm not encouraging a strikeout by any means, but if it keeps going, you're in good shape.
That one's called a strike and almost hit Lee.
Certainly going to chase him off the plate, that's for sure.
Well, we have seen both coaches be unhappy with the officiating already through the first inning and 2/3. Upstairs, ball 1. Cueto flew out. Rivera struck out looking, first 2 batters of the inning. And just like Joel Corey got a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the second, that one bounced to the plate 2-2. Campa would love a 1-2-3 frame here.
But there's another pitch like we've talked about with both starters thus far where you're not even competitive, right? So it's a complete waste pitch, not in the way that it's a waste pitch that you're trying to induce a swing. I mean, that one and many of the ones that Corey has tried to throw on the outer half of the plate. I mean, guys have no choice but to just watch it, and then you're watching that pitch count climb.
Lead looking at the 2-2 from Campa. Breaking ball on the ground, fair ball, snagged at first by Figueroa, nice play. And that's the end of the inning. 1-2-3 go the Cats. Well, both teams go 1-2-3 in the second. We go to the third, tied at 1 here on the CatEye Network. Back to
Leading it off for the Rattlers.
Back to the top of the order as we go to the top of the third. William Brown saw one pitch and put it over the left field wall. That time he watched the strike. First time up. To give the Rattlers a 1-0 lead. Darrell Lee responded in kind in the bottom of the inning as he swings and misses at that one 0-2. That's how we have this 1-1 score. Both teams have threatened since, but neither team has been able to get a run across. Second game of a 3-game series here at the Jack. Joel Corey bounces one to the plate, and Corey's been up 0-2 in a bunch of these counts and has just missed the 0-2 pitch pretty badly. 1-2. That time he got Brown swinging. That was a beauty.
Well, that looked like an at-bat that Pham would have put up yesterday. We're just looking for something, trying to force it a little too much. I do like the little pace there. It seemed like Corey worked a little quicker in that at-bat than he had been. Working about as quickly as you can on the mound, keeping guys a little bit off base.
Top hitter on the team, Brody Popple, was hit by the first pitch he saw last time up and was stranded on third. Corey deals, keeps it well on the outside, ball one. Popple batting .356, 28 runs on 37 hits, 2 doubles, 3 triples, 7 homers, 23 batted in. Down low, ball 2. Popple in the air, foul territory, third base side. That'll make the parking lot 2-1. And when you start to see the same guys again, second time through the order, especially if you struggled with them the first time, here's the 2-1. Popple rockets one down the first baseline, but that goes about 2 feet foul, and it's 2-2. But again, it's a mentality thing. You find yourself pitching differently to guys who you've struggled against.
Yep, and you lose a lot of flexibility that you would have otherwise, especially, and we'll see this a lot more on the Wildcat side, when it's these long at-bats, right? When it's 5, 6, 10 pitches. Guys have seen everything you have, and you lack a lot of that deception that you'd normally go to.
2-2. Popple on the ground to first. Backstopped by Placencia. He takes it himself. It's 2 away.
Just looked a lot more in control as Corey since that start. Still a wasted pitch here or there, but not thus far in this inning. Letting the defense work, not trying to do too much, avoiding those big uncompetitive pitches that are driving that count up.
Well, that's the big struggle, not only for Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M, but for the entire SWAC and really for all of mid-major college baseball, is consistency. A ball and no strikes. The batter is Jay Campbell, who walked his first time up. Ground ball to third. Fabo gloves it, 2 steps in. And a 1-2-3 go the Rattlers. So 6 straight outs got by Corey after that tough first inning. We go to the bottom of the third, 1-1 here on the CatEye Network. To the bottom of the third we go. Andre Martinez leads it off. He struck out his first time up, was the first strikeout victim of Campa for Florida A&M. Jesus Campa from El Paso, Texas, and a transfer from Mississippi Valley State. And before that, El Paso Community College. And that's a ball called. Campa is going to run afoul of the pitch clock. And the count is 1-0.
Trying to find where we have the pitch clock now.
Martinez watches ball 2 upstairs. It was right behind the plate, but I don't see it out there anymore.
It was on like the second layer of the concourse. We had a couple of the guys running it. Now I don't know where it is.
2-0. Martinez pops it up. Shallow center. Converging is Cruz, and that's 1 away.
Martinez is going to have an interesting couple of weeks, right? I mean, he's not sneaking up on anybody anymore. And especially when you get into these bigger series, he's going to have to hit some bad pitches, right? He's not going to get a whole lot outside of course, we know there's certain arms, certain relievers in this conference that struggle a little bit, but he's going to have to hit some good pitches if he's going to continue the success he's had.
First pitch, strike on the outside corner to Jorge Rodriguez. Reached on an error by the third baseman Perez in the first. Ended up being stranded on third as the Wildcats left the bases loaded. Something tells me, back on the pitch clock conversation, that the umpires are keeping it on the field.
It could be, but I thought it was a requirement now that you had to have a physical one.
1-1. Punched on the infield to the second baseman. Ground underhands to Figueroa. Not sure where that was going off the bat, but it ended up just dying on the infield.
I'm thinking about it. There's also a possibility that the pitch clock we were using in the Valley series belonged to Mississippi Valley. They had potentially been using that at their home games and had brought it with, knowing we didn't have one.
I thought the rule was if you had one, you had the capability, you had to use it.
Well, that was last year.
Slow grounder towards third, and Perez makes another mistake. Jesus Venegas reaches.
Just uncharacteristic for FAMU. That's 2 nights now where you've had a couple. It doesn't seem like a team that would be shaken up by the moment, but there's been a few like that. I mean, it's mostly been plays like that where it's those grounders. Not that that's the easiest one in the world, but still, I mean, you talked about fielding percentage. I mean, it's a point of pride for a lot of these teams. I know that's how, at the very least, the Wildcats staff looks at it.
Here's Michael Rodriguez, struck out swinging his first time up. And he is way ahead of that breaking ball. He was nowhere close his first time up either. He's not seeing it out of the hand of Campa at all.
Yeah, and you go at him inside. He's been fanning at it when it's down by his hands.
That time missed on the outside corner, 1-1. That Venegas single was called a single instead of an error. First base runner for the Wildcats in 7 batters. Rodriguez watches it low. Good job by Popple behind the plate to keep it alive. We were thinking back in the first when FAMU was scrambling people to the bullpen that it might be a good day to be a Wildcat, but Jesus Campa has really settled down as he steps off. Two on the count. Campa hanging off the right-hand side of the mound, gets Rodriguez to foul it away, and it's 2-2. Michael Rodriguez is an interesting case. Never sure quite where he fits into a lineup, even when he does start. He's the DH today. 2-2. Bounce to the plate. That ball gets behind Popple. He can't find it, so going to second is Jesus Venegas. So Venegas got a gift on a mistake on the infield by Perez. Gets a gift on a wild pitch. Now is in scoring position, but Michael Rodriguez got to get him there. Full count delivery from Campa, who's got 4 strikeouts already. That one, ball 4. Rodriguez lingered in the box for a minute, thinking that Revuelta behind the plate was going to ring him up, but he does not. There's a walk. 3rd walk of the game for Campa. And now here's Jorge Gonzalez Fabo, who reached on a walk in the first and was stranded there.
It feels like it's been very much bend but don't break for Campa thus far, and he's done enough at the very least, right, to get the bullpen all the way seated and back in the dugout for now, but it always feels like we're one or two swings away from trouble.
Fabo gets a called strike against him. Nice frame job by Popple on the outside corner. But already this is approaching 70 pitches now for Jesus Campa. 0-1. Up and in. Popple pops up and looks the runners back. I'm not sure with 2 outs if the Wildcats will try anything dramatic on the base paths here. Long looking from Campa. Fabo in the air, center field. Going back is Cruz. He's near the track. He's near the wall. Oh, he makes the catch on the track to end the inning. Well, if that wasn't exactly where it was, that's over the wall. The deepest part of the park, but that's it. 2 left, 1 hit, no runs for the Wildcats. We go to the 4th, still tied at 1 here on the CatEye Network. To the 4th we go after each team plated 1 and threatened in the first. Nobody's threatened since. Josue Figueroa, what a nice defensive play at first base to keep the Wildcats off the board, stands in. Ground ball. Plasencia missed it. Venegas misses the throw to first as Corey covers. That's an error for the Wildcats.
Well, that was a really nice bit of communication there. I mean, not only did you have the initial rush over there by Venegas, or excuse me, by Plasencia over at first, misses it. Venegas is backing up, manages to come up with it. Corey doing what you're supposed to do as a pitcher, running over there to back up. He's there, just sped a little bit up by the runner, rushing down there. That's, of course, a good job by Figueroa down there to get that hustle in. And it does force the really tough play, but I like the defensive communication.
And now here's Justin Cruz, grounded out to third his first time up. He puts bat on ball and dribbles it foul third base side. For a Wildcat defense that has been so spectacular, leads the league in fielding percentage at .963. That is a rare mistake. 0-1. Outside, 1-1. This game has definitely settled in after the craziness of the first inning, but I would not put it past either of these teams to start putting bat on ball quickly.
Once it gets bad, it feels like the floodgates are kind of going to open for either side.
With Ray Plasencia over there at first, a position he hasn't played a ton, every time a pickoff move happens, I fear for a miss. 1-1. Off the bat, in the air, foul territory, and out of play on the first base side. 1-2. Joel Corey just has one strikeout tonight. Has had at least 4 in every start this season. The sophomore deals. Punched foul over the clubhouse. Count holds 1-2. And really where Corey has been good for me this season is the command. 60 strikeouts to 16 walks. Corey ahead 1-2 on Cruz. Upstairs, 2-2. But tonight he's been a little bit more wild than even in the games where he's given up a ton of runs. He's been throwing pitches in the strike zone. Today, he's missed some bad ones. 2-2. High chopper towards third. 5, 4. No play at first. They'll get the lead runner. So Figueroa out. And Cruz on with a fielder's choice.
You do notice that step of maturity from Corey. Last year, mostly in the midweek, sure. You talk about those walks. He had 32 last year. And that's in the exact same number of innings pitched that he has now this year, sitting right around 50. And yeah, I mean, you could put it all on the heightened competition that you see in the midweek games, whether it's Florida, FSU, even some of the good mid-majors, Stetson, UNF. But to tone that down as much as he has is very impressive.
First pitch, low ball 1 to Ben Kim, who flew out to center field his first time up. That was the final out of the first inning, where FAMU stranded 2. Back to first in is Cruz. This is not a FAMU team that steals a ton. 32 steals on the season on 42 attempts. Two balls, no strikes, the count. In the in the context of the SWAC, that is second to last. Only Alabama State steals less. High fly, left center. Long run for Rivera, but he tracks it down. 2 outs.
Might be the best part about having Sergio Rivera find his way back into the lineup regularly and allowing his bat to get him there is his defense is excellent. It's always been excellent. He's got great instincts. He's got great speed in the outfield. And there was a talk early on in the season about, sacrificing defense at certain positions in favor of the bats. Well, when his bat was able to catch up with the surge in power, the surge in, that gap ball, he's able to get back in there and work really well in that outfield as well.
Perez bats now. Breaking ball, first pitch strike. Matthew Perez popped out on the infield his first time up and is maybe trying to make up for his poor defense, has committed an error and a mistake that was not called an error. Runner goes, soft tapper to third. Favo charging across the diamond. That'll do it. So an error and a fielder's choice come to nothing. No runs, no hits, 1 error and 1 left. And we go to the bottom of the 4th. Still tied at 1 here on the CatEye Network.
Set to lead things off for the Wildcats in the
To the bottom of the fourth we go. Ray Placencia leads off. Came up in a big spot in the first. Bases loaded, 2 out, and ended up striking out looking. Jesus Campa still on the mound for Florida A&M. Whoa. When he goes to that, I'm going to call it a slurve. Because it's got curveball movement, but it breaks away from the righties. He is really tough to hit. That time, Placencia check swing chops it to short. And it's missed by Niles. What is happening to the Florida A&M infield?
Yeah, that was no excuse for that one. I mean, there's plenty of times we give credit to the defenders, whether it's those tough hops off the turf or a quick developing one. I mean, that one goes right under the glove. No excuse there. And now you have a really good opportunity in this stalemate that we've got to break it open and do it in a way that can be extra frustrating to FAMU.
Now here's Jeter Poyeto, 1 on, nobody out.
Big opportunity. Again, talk about defense as a point of pride. You got the shot to do it in this fashion.
Poyeto drops the bunt foul, third base side.
Again, we see Poyeto going back to that bunt. That's back-to-back nights that he's been put in a position. It was twice last night, both with Irvin Escobar and base in front of him.
Well, I'd be happier maybe bunting with Placencia in front of you than Irvin Escobar. There's quite a bit of speed difference there.
So again, I like the approach, not afraid to go to small ball.
Whoop. Gets Poyeto to lean way back. Almost took that one on the bill of his helmet. It's 1-1. But this is a Wildcats team we haven't seen go to the small ball stuff really over the last 2 seasons. 1-1. Poyeto drops it down, foul, and it's 1-2. 2 years ago, of course, they were all about the steal. It was, get on, get over, get in any way possible. The last 2 years, the bats have been good enough, and the speed hasn't really been there. This year specifically, the speed is really not there up and down the lineup to where you don't really feel comfortable stealing a ton.
And even so, I still think they've gone to it more than I anticipated, at least at the start of the year. They've got a handful of guys that are your go-to steal guys.
Poyeto nowhere on that curveball, and he strikes out, 1 away.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about at least the last couple of nights when Poyeto's gone to that bunt is putting him foul on the first 2. Then you're put in that position where you don't want to bunt one foul for the strikeout. Kind of forced to swing, and at bat, maybe mentally you weren't quite preparing yourself to have to do that. And then we see a big swing like that.
Sergio Rivera just 1 for his last 7. That one was the home run on Tuesday against UNF. And he puts one in the air, down the left field line. That'll go foul. Not a lot of balls have found their way inside the foul lines today.
We mentioned last night a little bit those very short foul poles, probably about 10, 15 feet. I was thinking back to that home run in the first inning. Didn't see a whole lot of argument, right, on it being foul, but would have definitely been helped by a taller pole out there.
Inside, Rivera says it hit him on the elbow. Home plate umpire doesn't agree. I thought I saw the elbow move, but of course we're farther away than they are by quite a bit. So it's 1-1. Placencia leads off of first with 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th after reaching on an error by the shortstop Niles. That one's in the air. High fly to left field, up in the jet stream, going back towards the wall, and making the catch is Kim. Placencia will hold at first, and there's 2 away.
That's another one. And I kind of like that approach there, just putting one in the air. I think if this was maybe an inning ago, 2 innings ago, and the wind was really ripping, that one probably gets out by quite a bit, but the wind has died just a bit down there, so not quite enough.
Darrell Lee hit a home run up into that jet stream down the left field line. Opposite field his first time up, then grounded out to first unassisted on a really nice pick play behind the bag by Figueroa in the second. Watches the first one upstairs. We talked about stolen bases and how the Wildcats, we think, don't steal a ton in comparison to 2 years ago. They're still top 5 in the conference in stolen bases with 87 on the year. 1-0. Lee fouls one back, 1-1. Remember, everything is relative.
It's also been, I think, when you mentioned 2 years ago, right, it was a focus of the offense. Now it's not so much a focus as it is a tool that a handful of guys go to, and situationally or what have you.
Lee fouls the 1-1 back, and it's 1-2. And the Wildcats are second in the league in batting average behind Alabama State. First in the league in ERA. First in the league in fielding percentage. And lead the league at a 14-2 record. 1-2. Lee stays alive again. There's been times over the last couple years where, yes, the Wildcats have been winning games, but statistically it didn't pop off the page like it has this year. Even as much as we've talked about the pitching not being as good as it has been, they're still leading the league in ERA by quite a wide margin. Strike 3 called outside, down goes Lee, and that's the end of the inning. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. And we go to the 5th, still 1-1 here on the CatEye Network.
For the Rattlers, right fielder, number 12, Jordan Brown.
To the 5th we go, and after an entertaining first inning, neither offense has really done much of anything. Just 2 hits for BCU, 1 hit for FAMU, 3 errors combined. Joel Corey misses low with pitch number 55. Jordan Brown walked his first time up, was caught in the middle of a double play, and he puts one in the air to right field and deep. Going back, Martinez tracking, and he got it. That was not an easy play. It changed directions on him a couple of times, and there's 1 away in the inning.
Yeah, give Martinez some credit. I mean, he's not just a slugger. That's a hard one. I mean, almost hit directly over his head, and so you kind of have to make the decision there if you just want to go full steam ahead, turn your face towards the wall, try to backpedal towards it. Kind of did a little bit of a hybrid of both there. I had to cut both ways when the wind kind of took it a little bit, but he's able to make the play.
Here's Jalen Niles, grounded into a double play. First time up, takes a first pitch curveball strike. And then committed an error in the last inning on a ground ball hit to him by Plasencia. He's way ahead of the off speed, and it's 0-2. Corey pitching backwards a little bit here. Off speed, off speed. Let's see if he dials up the fastball as the wind starts blowing out toward left again. Curveball. Didn't get the call. Corey walking off the mound.
Got to be careful not to show up the officials, especially when they've already been maybe a little bit less than stellar from their perspective on the night. You don't want to make an enemy when it's already been pretty rough sledding.
Niles dribbles it foul. Count holds 1-2. Yeah, I've said a couple of times between innings up here that the home plate umpires, the strike zone has been inconsistent. Not just wide, but inconsistent. 1-2. Upstairs, 2-2. And now it gets in your head as a pitcher, right? You think you got a guy. Now you got to go right back at him. Low on the curve. And from a 2-1 count, it's now 3-2.
Well, at least that's a pitch right there that, you forced a good take. At least it wasn't in the dirt.
That one is in the dirt, and it's a walk for Jalen Niles. Not that I want to blame the officials, but I put that one on the home plate umpire. Now it's on Corey to try and get back mentally. Now third time through the order, facing a guy that took you deep already. 1 on, 1 out.
Big spot. I mean, we continue to talk about how close it feels like we could be to the edge for either pitching staff.
Runner goes, chopper to third. Fabo makes the play at first, so good as a sac bunt for William Brown. Niles to second with 2 down.
It's the second time now that FAMU's avoided a potential double play ball by sending the runner.
Well, after Niles grounded into that double play, every time they've had a runner on first, it feels like they've sent it. And now here's Popple, hit by a pitch in the first, stranded on third, grounded out to first, unassisted in the third. He's got Niles in scoring position with 2 outs, top of the 5th in a 1-1 contest. And he puts one in the air. That'll stay near the infield third base side. The shortstop, Jeter Poyeto, handles it, and we go to the bottom of the 5th. Nobody can break this deadlock. It's still 1-1 here on the CatEye Network.
For the Wildcats, right fielder number 36, Andre Martinez.
Still tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the 5th here in Sanford. Wildcats trying to take this series from Florida A&M after winning 8-3 last night. Jesus Campa deals pitch number 86 on the night. It's low and away to Andre Martinez, who's 0 for 2. Martinez struck out in the first and popped out to shallow center in the third. That one called a strike on the outside corner. You heard the groan from the crowd. Thought that was a little bit up and out. That one's low. And this is the kind of stuff from Campa that almost got him pulled in the first inning. Just completely uncompetitive. And even the strike was kind of iffy. 2-1. Martinez in the air, foul territory. That is going to be caught. First baseman Figueroa makes the play in foul territory, and Martinez is 0 for 3.
So this is what I mentioned last at bat for Martinez. It's going to get tougher and tougher, right? I mean, there's already been a day where you've punished FAMU a little bit, and you've already seen them adjust, right? And sure, maybe it can be a little bit of your own doing at times, maybe just trying to do a little too much with the swing here or there, but he's going to be pitched as well as anybody else in this lineup. in many ways, too, it's up to the guys behind him to give him some protection to help that as well.
Ground ball foul outside of third. First pitch swinging by Jorge Rodriguez. Rodriguez reached on an error in the first, was stranded on third, and grounded out to second base in the third. That was off the inside of the bat, a weird little flare towards second that looked like it might be going into shallow right and then just died. 0-1. Outside 1-1. There's definitely some movement down there in that FAMU bullpen now. Credit to Campa, though. He has settled down and allowed one hit through 4 innings after that leadoff home run by Darrell Lee. With 6 strikeouts to boot. He's having the kind of game that Tanner Bocabello had last night. Nothing flashy, just getting the job done.
Yeah, like we said, bend but don't break. That's all you can ask for.
That one hit hard, but foul into the parking lot, third base side. 2-2. And that's, I think, a credit to how good the pitching has been on both sides, as there have been so many foul balls. Nobody's barreling it up. It's all weak contact and fouls. 2-2. Just barely getting a piece of it is Rodriguez.
The FAMU coaching staff's in an interesting spot, too, because, I mean, you saw the Wildcats have success. You mentioned it last night. Every time a new pitcher came in, they were able to immediately have some success. So you might want to ride Campa a little bit longer than you think, as long as he's continuing to do what he's done, right? I mean, it might come a situation that is, we get later in the game, if you put a runner on, you're out, but otherwise, just keep going.
Fouled straight back. Last night, Jorge Rodriguez was 0 for 1 with a strikeout and 3 walks. But he never advanced past first base.
I mean, he may be up there right behind Martinez as far as the most intimidating bats to see out here in this lineup.
But he's been a little bit off the last couple of weeks. 2-2. And he swings and misses. That's a really good pitch. 12-6 curve by Campa. His 7th strikeout, which is as many as Tanner Bocabello had last night. 2 away in the inning, and the batter is Jesus Venegas, who's really struggled this series. Went 0 for 4 last night, the only Wildcats to not reach base. Oh, correction, sorry, went 0 for 4 on Tuesday, the only Wildcats to not reach base. 1 for 3 last night with an RBI. Fastball down the middle, strike 1. Venegas today walked in the first, was stranded on second, and hit a little dribbler down the third base line that Perez couldn't handle, so went in as a single. He's got the second of the 2 BCU hits. Way in front of that slider, 0-2. Wildcats just have no answer for Campa right now, and I agree. If you're FAMU, they leave him out there. And I think the Wildcats kind of did that with Tanner Bocabello last night. He threw 116 pitches. Venegas in the air, left center. The fielders converge, and that's going to drop in the gap. Cruz fires in to keep Venegas to a single, but Jesus Venegas has 2 of the Wildcats' 3 hits tonight, and outside of Darrell Lee putting one over the wall in the first inning, that's probably the best piece of contact we've seen.
Yeah, that's one where I think I was worried a little bit the wind would hold it up too long and allow the fielders to get it, but I mean, he split them just about as even as you can. A nice little piece of hitting there. Again, when you're in a slump like that, you can't do the free swing thing. You got to take your shots when you can get them. Took a nice pitch there and just send it back out on the grass.
Here's Michael Rodriguez, 0 for 1, struck out in the first, walked in the third. First pitch, fastball outside, called strike 1.
Yeah, that might be the most egregious we've seen tonight. That was bad.
A run on 3 hits for the Wildcats, a run on 1 hit for FAMU. Both runs scored on solo home runs by the leadoff hitters. That one in the dirt, 1-1. Michael Rodriguez, the sophomore from Pembroke Pines down in South Florida, prepped at West Broward High School. Looks at the 1-1, way outside. Rodriguez, as a freshman last year, didn't play a ton, but starred when he got the chance. Appeared in 18 games on the season with 3 starts last year. 2-1 from Campa. Off the end of the bat, foul. 2-2. I remember the game at Florida State last year where Michael Rodriguez came in and the all-rotated starting lineup. Everybody off the bench got a chance to start. He got 2 hits and scored a run, picked up an RBI, and as the Wildcats put a scare to Florida State. 2-2. That one bounced to the plate, count runs full. And that was the game where I kind of said, wait a minute, we might have a player here.
And I mean, you mentioned it, just the sophomore. I mean, a lot of room left to grow. This is a guy that can really usher in, your next wave. Even if he doesn't feel that he's reached his ceiling this year, he's got plenty more time to not only take command on the field of a consistent lineup spot, of a top spot, but going forward.
Ball 4, and now a single and a walk means there's 2 on with 2 outs, and the batter is Jorge Gonzalez-Febo, who missed a home run by about 2 feet in the deepest part of the park in left center field, and here comes Coach Jamie Shoup. That might be the end for Jesus Campa, the former Mississippi Valley State Delta Devil, and a really great job on the mound by Campa.
Yep, I mean, a perfect textbook example of recovery, of resilience, of grit out there. I mean, it was not always pretty. I mean, you look up at the box score, right, and it's not ugly in any particular way. I mean, he walked 3. He walked 4. He allowed the 3 hits. So you had a fair share of base runners, but it never quite got out of control, never really felt like he was out of control. Even now, right, if you had chosen to stick with him, I mean, he's answered the bell in just every opportunity, but finally reached the end of that line now. And for the Wildcats, you've got a chance to do what you did last night and adapt really quickly here and try to get one step closer to breaking this one open.
Gets a nice bit of applause from both sets of fans out here. Good bit of green and orange to match the maroon and gold faithful here at the park tonight. So we'll have a new pitcher for Florida A&M. We'll meet them shortly. You love Bethune-Cookman University sports? Of course you do. Then don't miss Hail Wildcats Radio, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of all 15 Wildcat sports programs. Hosted by voice of the Wildcats, Michael Travillo, and featuring the expertise of sports information directors Bryce Radowski and Brian Harvey. Hail Wildcats Radio delivers unparalleled coverage of your favorite teams. Tune in to 1380 WELE Daytona Beach every Saturday to catch the show live or listen anytime on your favorite podcast platform. New pitcher is a familiar face. It's Cody Williams.
Your pitcher, please. Now pitching for Florida A&M. Number 30, Cody Williams.
Williams pitched last night.
Cody Williams
Was the 3rd pitcher on the hill and gave up 4 of the Wildcats' 8 runs. Allowed the homer the single to Irvin Escobar eventually came around, and then he was responsible for the 3 base runners when Cheater Poyeto went yard in the 7th, although that was not off him, that was off of Sims.
And it's an interesting spot, an interesting choice. And how many times in modern baseball is it all about, the less exposure a guy on the mound has to a lineup, the better. I mean, how many times you see 3rd time through, guys are getting pulled. Seeing a guy is half the battle, right? You start to learn the speed, you start to learn his arsenal, his approach, and the more chances you get to do that, it's pretty set in stone at this point. It's well documented that you tend to have more success. So the Wildcats know what they're expecting here, and you have a chance to really give yourself the upper hand for the first time all night.
Cody Williams, the senior from Rockmart, Georgia, has a ERA of 5.63. Making his 15th appearance of the season, 24 innings pitched. And he's got 2 on, 2 out. Fabo, pop fly, shallow right. First pitch swinging. That'll be the end of the inning as Brown makes the catch. The Wildcats again strand a pair. They've stranded 7 in the game, and we go to the 6th, tail tied at 1.
Leading things off here.
Still 1-1 as we go to the top of the sixth. Jay Campbell leads off for FAMU. Joel Corey drops a sinker right down into the zone for strike one. Campbell 0 for 1 with a walk. Walked in the first, grounded out to third in the third. In the middle of the third time through the order for Florida A&M, fouled straight back 0-2. Joel Corey sitting at 65 pitches right now. So he's been efficient, more efficient than Jesus Campa, but he hasn't gotten the run support that he has in his last couple of appearances. In his last 4 appearances, the offense gave him 9, 18, 6, and 9. 0-2. Fouled away. Campbell stays alive. Wildcats looking for the win here that would clinch them this series and take a lot of pressure off tomorrow. Off the end of the bat, popped foul territory, first base side. Placencia trying to find it. He will not. And the count holds 0-2 for the third straight time. Jake Campbell, freshman from Tallahassee. Batting .333 on the year, Jake Campbell. Second best average on the team behind Brody Popple. Down low and away, 1-2. After this, Florida A&M goes home on Wednesday, have a home game against Mercer. Upstairs, ball 2. Then hosts Grambling and hosts Alabama A&M. So they are home from April 23rd to May 4th. Long old homestand for Florida A&M. 2-2. Fouled away. They'll finish up with Texas Southern and Alcorn. So a favorable schedule, really 2 teams that are going to be tough in Texas Southern and Grambling, and 2 teams you feel you can roll over in Alabama A&M and Alcorn. The Wildcats have maybe the hardest schedule in the conference left.
I think that's a good thing. I really do.
Fouling away again is Jay Campbell.
I mean, we've already started the conversation right amongst ourselves where it's like, well, what if we get Jackson or Southern in the first round? Well, if you're coming in and all you've played is Alabama A&M and Valley and Pine Bluff, and you see a team like that, as gritty as they are, even though we took care of business against them early in the season, I think you're better off being battle-tested and seeing some of the SWAC's best heading in, give you a chance to really cut your teeth against who you'll expect to face in the later rounds.
Long AB here, and it will continue. Fouled off the inside part of the bat, straight back onto the roof. Wildcats continue their busy schedule after tomorrow, wrapping up the series at Jacksonville Monday versus South Florida at Jackie Robinson on Wednesday. Then at Arkansas Pine Bluff, who's one of the hotter teams in the conference.
Yeah, what have they won? 7 straight, I think?
Chopper towards short. Poyeto charges it and throws out Jake Campbell after a war with Joel Corey that lasted 10 pitches.
And Corey has done a great job of being efficient on the night. Some of that you credit to FAM swinging pretty freely over the last couple of innings. But regardless of the 10-pitch at bat there, I mean, Corey's been a guy who a lot of times in his career has been inefficient. We've seen the pitch count rise pretty early in games, but done a really good job here. And we talked about bullpen flexibility. Well, you've got plenty of it as we've gotten deeper into this game.
Here's Josue Figueroa. Sack bunted runners over in the first and reached on an error in the fourth. Ended up being caught out in a fielder's choice. He's ahead of ball and no strikes. The Wildcats will next weekend go to Arkansas Pine Bluff. There's a strike at the knees, 1-1, who I mentioned is one of the hotter teams in the conference. They've won, you're right, I think 7 straight conference games. Check swing, no swing, says third base umpire Arthur Thigpen. 2 balls, 1 strike. Then they'll play the other 3 in the top 4 to round out the schedule. Alabama State at home, Grambling State away, Texas Southern at home. Outside 3 balls, 1 strike. So the Wildcats are going to find out a lot about who they are in these next 4 weeks going into the tournament.
I think you wouldn't have it any other way.
Swing and a miss, ball in the dirt. Oh, the count was wrong on the board. It was 2 balls and 2 strikes, and well, that's Figueroa out on a strikeout. I didn't see 2-2, but
yeah, and as I try to keep balls and strikes for our scoreboard, we got manual scoreboard up here for those at the park. None of us had that.
nope.
So I'm not sure what happened, but you'd think we'd see some complaint from somebody down on the field. So maybe we all just missed one. I mean, no, we've missed things before. Don't forget that fly ball that none of us saw back at the Jack.
Oh my God! Don't remind me. Don't remind me. That is an experience I never want to relive.
One of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen at a sporting event.
A ball goes up into the air and just never comes down. Swing and a miss, 1-1. The batter is Justin Cruz. He's 0 for 1 with a fielder's choice. Rounded out to third in the first, reached on a fielder's choice in the fourth. Line shot towards short on 1 hop. Poyeto makes the play, and the Wildcats get out of it 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Still tied at 1 here on the CatEye Network.
Leading it off for the Wildcats. First base
We go to the bottom of the 6th.
Placencia.
2 solo home runs in the first inning and pretty much nothing since for these teams as it's 1-1. Just 3 hits for the Wildcats, 1 hit for Florida A&M. The pitcher is Cody Williams for Florida A&M. Came on in relief of Jesus Campa with 2 away in the bottom of the 5th and got Jorge Gonzalez-Febo to pop up to right field on 1 pitch to end the threat. A ball and a strike. Called strike outside corner 1 and 2. You can definitely tell the velocity is much higher with Williams than Campa. Campa will try to fool you with the off-speed pitch. Williams is going to go straight at you with the fastball. 1-2. Whoa, that was in on the hands of Placencia, and he's lucky that he got a piece of it. Placencia 0 for 1, struck out in the first. That ended that inning and then reached on an error in the 6th. Placencia in the air, left center field. That one's gonna go dropping in and head towards the corner. Ray's going to second. Here comes the throw. He's safe. It was a close play, but Ray gets in there.
Yeah, close play is right. I thought he was dead to rights, but I think with the second baseman playing a little bit away from the bag, having to corral that, cut-off throw, he's able to slide in there pretty easily at the end. Didn't always look like it was going to be an easy one, but what a great way to start. And another opportunity here. There's been a couple now with nobody out for the Wildcats. where it feels like you can really put a stamp on this one in your direction.
For the first time in the ball game, well, I guess Darrell Lee's home run in the first inning counts. The Wildcats have a runner aboard with nobody out.
Didn't we have a hit by pitch a couple of innings ago or a walk?
Nope, that was with one out. Oh, no, it was Ray Placencia's error. It was nobody out.
It was error,
You're
that's
right.
what it was.
So this is the second time we've had a runner on base with nobody out. Both of them have been Placencia. And I was questioning his inclusion in the lineup today when I got the scorecard from Coach Hernandez, but he has come through. 1-0. Fastball outside and low. The batter is Jeter Poyeto, who was the hero last night, a 3-run home run to break the game open. It was in the 7th last night. Poyeto hacks at the off-speed pitch and fouls it back, 2-1. Yeah, Poyeto's home run last night was in the 7th. This is the bottom of the 6th. Cody Williams stands back in after Poyeto steps out. 2-1. Breaking ball inside, called strike 2. That one's tough.
It seems like a lot of the close calls have been on the outer half of the plate. That one on the inside. I don't know how you're supposed to even get a piece of contact on that one.
And here comes Coach Cartaya. He's going to go ahead and talk to Jeter Poyeto.
This might be nothing more than a brief on, strike zone where it's been at, what the approach needs to look like just to stay competitive with the way that a lot of these have been called tonight.
Nike is the official outfitter of the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Gear up on the newest BCU Nike gear at Nike.com/Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. And make sure you are representing Bethune-Cookman Athletics to the fullest. Buy the latest BCU gear online to the Bethune-Cookman online store. Go to BCUathletics.com and click on Shop to find the newest BCU clothing and apparel. That's BCUathletics.com and click on Shop. 2-2 on Poyeto. Ray Placencia on second after his leadoff double. Still tied at 1, bottom 6. Williams deals. Low ball 3. That's a really tough take, especially when that lower outside corner, a couple of guys on both sides have been rung up down there. 3-2. Punch towards right field. That'll hang up in the air. Brown makes the catch. Placencia going to third. Here comes the throw. It's cut off, and Ray will go to third. So doing the job is Jeter Poyeto. Moves a runner 90 feet away, and the batter is Sergio Rivera, who's 0 for 2.
Well, Sergio Rivera might be one of the better equipped guys in this lineup for a situation like this because he's very rarely going to hunt the wall. He's a guy that just likes to put the ball out on that outfield grass. Now's a good opportunity here. Not try to overdo anything. The wind has died down to where you're not going to try your strategy just putting one up in the air in that left field side. But if you put one left anywhere, or if you put one in the air anywhere, you've got a chance to finally move in front.
This game has been 1-1 since the first inning. Nobody's been able to score since. Runner on third. That's Ray Placencia with 1 down. And Rivera was trying to do just that, but behind the fastball in on the hands, 0-1. Rivera tonight struck out looking in the second and flew out to left field. Infield in, potentially making the play at home. That one's in the air, but foul on the first base side. It wouldn't really take anything flashy from Rivera here. The infield is all the way in on the edge of the grass, so if you can just poke one, pick yourself up an RBI. But behind 0-2, he's got to protect here. Williams looking for that first strikeout of his innings. That one's in the air, right field, coming on and not making the play is Brown. He watches it bounce in front of him. Coming to the plate is Placencia. He scores. It's a base hit and an RBI for Sergio Rivera. Well, that's how you break out of a slump. He gives the Wildcats a 2-1 lead.
Well, I'm not really sure what Ray Placencia is doing over there at third, waiting for the potential catch, I guess. But even if you make the break for home at that point, I think you got enough time to get back. And made that a little bit of a closer play at home than it probably needed to be, but that's exactly the type of contact we're calling for from Sergio. That's what he made his hay on a lot last year, and that's a really nice way to finally break the stalemate.
Now here's Darrell Lee. Hit that home run in the first inning to tie things up at 1, takes a ball inside. then grounded out to first unassisted on a nice play by Figueroa behind the bag, and the second struck out looking in the fourth. He's got Figueroa aboard, one down, and the Wildcats have finally scored a run. They really haven't even been threatening since that first inning. They never got a runner to third before now, since they left the bases juiced in the first. 1-0. Swing and a miss. Runner goes, and the throw is high, and Rivera is safe. If that's a better throw, Rivera's out by a mile, but Miles couldn't apply the tag, so a stolen base for Sergio. They're going to send Sergio back to first here.
I guess it has to be batter's interference.
Wow. Well, both sides have struggled with the officiating tonight, and this is another close call. I'm looking at it back on the live stream. There's no way it's batter's interference. Darrell Lee wasn't even close to the catcher.
I think that was the call, though, if based on nothing else than just heard a fan say that he stayed in the batter's box.
There was one in the majors last night that got a little bit of play on social media. It was the Reds' batter's interference. So
well, it looks like the eons of history are going to refer to this one as nothing more than a strike.
And so Darrell Lee he's out because it's batter's interference.
Okay, well,
What
a disorganized mess that was. I mean, he was about to let him step back into the box, and now we're calling him out. That's unbelievable.
Wow. So Rivera doesn't get a steal. He goes back to first. Darrell Lee is out on batter's interference. I went back and checked the live stream. He was nowhere near the catcher when he threw that ball.
And there's just no reason to, artificially insert yourself into a game like that if you're the official.
Now here's Andre Martinez, who's looking for a big one. He's 0 for 3 tonight. A strikeout and 2 soft pop-outs. He's ahead in the count 1-0. Williams deals. That one right at the bottom of the zone. Fastball 1-1. After Jesus Campos started the game for the Rattlers and went 105 pitches, gave up a run on 3 hits. The Wildcats have finally gotten to the reliever Cody Williams for at least 1, and they were threatening more before that batter's interference call. Now there's 2 away, so Martinez is going to have to find the grass somewhere if the Wildcats want this inning to continue. He fouls it back off a fastball inside, 2-2. What shocks me the most about that batter's interference call is we didn't get a lot of arguing from Coach Hernandez. So maybe he saw something different down there than we did.
It's certainly possible.
2-2, 2 down. Martinez line drive, right center field. That's going to get all the way to the wall. Grounding third and coming home is Rivera. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's way late. Andre Martinez breaks up an 0 for 3 night with an RBI double to the deepest part of the park in right center field. 3-1 Cats.
Well, that's another one that's not going to go into the book as an error necessarily, but for Justin Cruz out there trying to, actually, I believe that was the right fielder, that would be Jordan Brown, trying to make that play, just, again, tries to scoop at it in hopes of probably getting it to the plate as quickly as possible, misses the ball out there and right, allows it to roll even further to the wall, and what ended up being a little bit close over there for Rivera coming all the way home, it made it nowhere close by the time it got here. Probably could have had him if it weren't for that little blunder out there.
Now it's Jorge Rodriguez. First pitch swinging, pops it up. Behind second base, coming in is Brown. He makes the catch to end the inning, but the Wildcats get 2 runs on 3 hits in strand 1. They take a 3-1 lead as we go to the 7th here on the CatEye Network.
Leading off for the Rattlers, left fielder number 4.
So Bethune-Cookman finally breaks through the stalemate. They plate 2 in the bottom of the 6th. And we go to the 7th with the Wildcats 9 outs away. A lot of work to be done to get there. And how about Joel Corey? After a really tough first inning, gave up a home run, put 2 guys on, got out of it. That one foul. Has not allowed a hit since the first inning. The only damage has been an error and 2 walks.
He's done everything he's been asked of and more, right? And not only have you prolonged the chance for your bats to put you ahead, stay in the game, but I mean, now every inning you go more is every bit more of an advantage you have in that bullpen. I mean, we've already seen a couple of guys warm up for FAM that we already saw last night.
And Williams, we saw pitch last night. He's in the game, fouled straight back 0-2.
And then Carson Kelly warming up, who we saw warm up last night.
I would expect to see Kelly. On numbers, he's one of the top arms they've got, just a 2.34 ERA. If this game stays close throughout, I almost expected to see Kelly first when it was still a tie game.
Gonna need some help for the bats if that one happens, though. Otherwise, you might want to save him at this point.
Strike 3, called outside corner. Well, Joel Corey was miffed that he didn't get one in the last inning. He's got one now. That's his first strikeout looking of the night. One away. Ben Kim is now 0 for 3. And now here's Matthew Perez, is 0 for 2, popped up on the infield of the first base side and grounded out to third. Breaking ball misses inside. And Corey tonight, even more so than Bocabello last night, has just induced soft contact, pop-ups, flyouts, ground balls. Bocabello, I mean, backed it up with the 7 strikeouts, but Corey doesn't even have that. He's just let his defense do the job. There's a strike up and in, 2-1. Just 3 strikeouts on the night for Corey. In the dirt. But the walks have been an issue, and it's really given FAMU the only life they've had in this game. And you don't really feel good with just a 2-run lead. Breaking ball caught the inside corner slider, and the count runs full on Perez. But I think if Corey can give you one more good one, that one, chopper slowly, first base side. That's going to stay fair. Rodriguez got it to Placencia in time. What a play.
A little point at the dugout. Big round of applause for him behind the plate. I mean, there's a lot of times that Rodriguez maybe didn't get enough credit from us for the catcher that he is defensively, especially because we've been watching Odin Escobar do it for going on 3 years now. But a play like that is not easy. I mean, you have a ton of movement, of course, in all the pads just to get down there.
And the communication to call off Corey and say, I got this.
Yep, keeping the tabs on where the runner is.
That one bounced to the plate, ball 1. I mean, Corey up now at 95 pitches. His most on the year is 102. That was last time out in just 4 1/3 against Alabama A&M. Strike caught the inside corner, 1-1. So I think if he gets through this one clean, you turn it over to the bullpen, and hopefully your offense gives you a couple more.
At the
Just
same time,
getting a piece is Jordan Brown, 1-2.
At the same time, I might encourage exactly what we said about FAMU, which is, yeah, of course, you've got some arms you trust out of the bullpen, whether it's Yonso Diaz or some others, but I'd probably let him start the inning.
We saw that with Boca last night, right, where they let him start an inning at 110 pitches, but then, gave up 2 base runners, and they went to the next guy. Unfortunately, those 2 runs ended up coming home to score. Ground ball towards short. Deep in the hole is Poyedo. On a hop, Placencia missed it. Second error of the game for the Wildcats gives FAMU 2-out life, and here's Jalen Niles.
A little uncharacteristic.
But Poyedo's been great tonight, other than that.
Not sure who you credit that to. I guess the throw. But it's certainly a tough call to make. But, again, uncharacteristic play for BCU there. And you got to be careful now not to let it get to more. Because if this is how the Rattlers end up finally getting back in the run column, It's hard to swallow.
Jalen Niles takes a first pitch slider strike. Niles 0 for 1 with a walk. Walked in the 5th, grounded into a double play in the 2nd. 2 outs in the inning. Jordan Brown aboard after an error by Judah Poyeto over at short, which is, again, really uncharacteristic, especially because that ball was as routine as it gets right to him. Just over-rotated on the throw and bounced it to Plasencia. 1-1. Inside, ball 2. All Corey needs to do is get one more out. We said that about J.C. Zambrano last night when he came in. And he ended up giving up the 2-run double. Breaking ball, that one catches the inside corner, 2-2. And Coach Hernandez leans out of the dugout and says, hey, get ready down there.
We didn't get the hurry up sign, but he's just making sure that all's going well down there.
2-2, 2-out runner on first. Long look in from Corey. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball, didn't catch the inside corner, full count.
You know, Corey might just like pitching this ballpark, right? Last time we saw him here, he blanked him, no hitter.
And that
Another solid
that
one.
was at the Jack against Southern.
Really?
3-2. Upstairs, ball 4. And so after that error and now a walk, and the Rattlers bring the go-ahead run to the plate in William Brown, who homered in the 1st. Just goes to show you how quickly this game can change on a knife edge. The Wildcats were an inch away from going back to the dugout.
I mean, how many times have we said it all night? For either side, that it felt like we were one hit, one base runner, one big swing away.
Now, the last time Corey pitched here...
Yeah, you're right. It was at the Jack. It feels like forever ago
Well,
now.
you know, the last time Corey pitched here, that was when Mississippi Valley State almost beat us. And
That's
Andre
right.
Martinez had to walk it off. He allowed 5 runs.
Well, so maybe I'll reverse my point and say that back to been a little bit fickle. It's a good one, a rough one, a good one. And then A&M last week, he wasn't necessarily as sharpest, but right back to where we've seen him at the top.
Currently, yes, the walks have been there, and 2 errors behind him haven't been good, but currently he's throwing a 1-hitter. That 1 hit, the solo shot by William Brown, the first pitch of the ball game.
Looks like that might do it here. Thought we were just going to have a players-only little conference, but after a little bit delay, I think we've selected our reliever out of the pen, and it seems like that might be it.
This is going to be an interesting decision. Who do you trust here if you're Coach Hernandez? Do you go to Yo-Yo Diaz?
I don't think we're going to anybody yet because nobody's made their way over. I saw Coach Cartaya walking his way back over from the bullpen, so we may be... I mean, it's hard for us to say, right, because half of our view over there is cut off, but I think we would have seen someone march this way by now. I say that, but then again, we also saw Jamie Shoup stand on the mound for 45 seconds. Yep, that will do it.
It is going to be Yoancel Diaz coming in for Joel Corey. Corey, 105 pitches, 6 2/3. 1 run on 1 hit, the home run by William Brown on the first pitch he threw. Struck out 3, walked 4, and he's currently responsible for 1 of the 2 runners on base. Of course, Jordan Brown, who's currently on second, reached on an error.
It's another step in the right direction for Corey, right? I mean, if you want to see him try to round into form as we head towards that postseason, it's going to take consistency. You know, you mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, and I think that's the difference that a good pitcher and a great pitcher, right, is anybody can go out and fire 1 good outing here or there, right? I mean, how many no-hitters have we seen in Major League Baseball by guys that you look at it on paper, you go, huh? How is Wade Miley out there throwing 9 and blanking somebody? But it's that consistency game in and game out of being a go-to guy every night. That's why you see Bocabello has been stuck with as that Friday night guy, because he's avoided the implosions. And while they haven't always looked pretty, he's kept you in the ball game, and he's been consistent. For Corey, I think this is a good step in that direction, right? If you can put together a few more like that heading into that tournament, you're a lot more admirable. You're a lot more feared on the mound as a pitcher when you're able to lock down consistently, not just one night or here or there.
Yoancel Diaz is the new pitcher, the graduate student, career Wildcat from Hialeah, Miami Springs High School. He comes in with a 3.48 ERA, making his 7th appearance of the year. In 10 1/3 innings, he's allowed 4 runs on 9 hits, all earned, striking out 15 and walking 2. He's allowed 1 doubles, no triples, 1 homer, no wild pitches, 2 hit-by pitches. And this is a spot we often see Yo-Yo in. This is the gotta-have-it spot.
which is so crazy from where we started with Yo-Yo's career, and I give him every bit of credit for that. He started off as the guy that would come up in the most mop-up of mop-up duties back when he first started throwing, and it kind of all clicked when we got to the postseason a couple of years ago, and he came in these high-leverage moments when you frankly didn't have anybody else to turn to, right? He was well down the list of the guys that you trusted, came in, showed he's an absolute gamer and is built for moments like this, and I think we always kind of saw that. I mean, he's got a good fastball and a pretty solid breaking ball to go along with it. One of the higher velocities on the team in those low 90s, and so he profiles well for a guy that can give you one or two good ones, just maybe not in long relief or certainly not starting. And feels like this year he's changed his pitching approach, his delivery just a bit, and really unlocked whatever he has left in that tank in his final year here. He has been a game changer, and it's been really fun to watch him in these big moments. He's got maybe no bigger one than right here.
The most important at-bat of the night, William Brown, who scored the only run for FAMU on a solo homer back in the first. He bats with 2 outs and 2 on. Wildcats lead 3-1 here, bottom 7. First pitch from Diaz in the zone. Strike 1. 1 out needed for Yo-Yo here. Ground ball, foul outside of third, 0-2. The inning started Kim strikeout, Perez ground out right in front of the plate, then Brown reached on an error and Niles walked. And now it's Diaz against Brown, 0-2. Struck him out swinging on a fastball low. Yo-Yo with his 16th punch out of the season. He comes through in a high leverage situation again. And the Wildcats continue to lead 3-1. We go to the bottom of the 7th, here on the CatEye Network. To the bottom of the 7th we go. Wildcats would love some insurance here, leading 3-1 over the Rattlers of Florida A&M in what has turned into a pitcher's duel here, but the bullpens have been activated for both sides. Cody Williams on for his 2nd inning of work for Florida A&M. Came in, second full inning of work. Came in with 2 outs in the 5th and then gave up 2 runs in the 6th. To give the Wildcats that 3-1 lead. Jesus Venegas swings and misses as that breaking ball outside. And it's 1-1. Venegas tonight, 2 for 2 with a walk. He's been on all 3 times. but has not yet come around to score nor driven one in. That one low, 2-1. Cody Williams last night credited for just a third of an inning, giving up run on one hit. Breaking ball tailed away. Check swing, no swing from Venegas, and it's 3-1. Cody Williams doesn't have a strikeout yet and hasn't given up a walk either since he's been in the game. Venegas pops it sky high, shallow right. Coming in is Brown, going out is Brown. And Brown makes the catch. One away. That's William Brown and Jordan Brown, by the way. I did not stutter. Armani Newton's going to pinch hit for Michael Rodriguez here at the DH spot. Michael Rodriguez finishes 0 for 1 with a strikeout and 2 walks. And here comes Armani Newton. Last night, Newton got the start at DH and was 0 for 3 with a walk.
It's really an interesting decision and a tough one for Rodriguez probably to swallow at this point. Newton might give you the best shot if you want to try to go the long ball route, so I don't know if I'd be surprised if I saw some big swings here. Have to do it on that one, though.
1-0. Newton, ground ball foul outside of first. And last night, the walk he took was an intentional walk. Didn't even see a pitch, which was odd for a guy that went 0 for 3 on the night previously. But he was caught out on a fielder's choice, didn't get a chance to advance.
It definitely shows you, I mean, there's a bit of fear that comes with facing him.
Now he's way behind that one, and it's 1-2. Armani Newton third on the team in strikeouts this year with 22. Watches one. Oh, my goodness. Strike 3. And once again, I don't agree. But we are just humble broadcasters who do not get to call the balls and strikes.
Yeah, this feels like the game that might see a coach or two get tossed for that, but I think with the stakes of this series, you don't need to do that.
If this was a blowout, maybe. First pitch still went away to Jorge Gonzalez-Fabo. Fabo 0 for 2 with a walk and 2 soft flyouts, 1 to center, 1 to right. Breaking ball caught the inside corner, 1-1. Williams looking for a 1-2-3 inning here. Get the Rattlers back with a chance to get back in this one. That one low and inside. 2 balls, 1 strike. But the big bats for the Wildcats, Andre Martinez, Jorge Rodriguez, Gonzalez-Fabo, haven't really shown up tonight. Now 3-1.
As much as you might get frustrated by that, I mean, part of a coaching staff likes to see when guys are able to pick up top arms, because not everybody's going to be on every single night. It's just the nature of the game.
Swing and a miss. Blew the fastball by Fabo, and it's 3-2. Yeah, the runs have come from Darrell Lee, Ray Placencia, and Sergio Rivera tonight for the Wildcats. 3-2. Ball 4 in the dirt. Fabo takes his second walk of the night. And another really good at-bat. The first one in the first inning, too, was a 9-10 pitch AB.
I mean, that's an easy way to turn around what's been a disappointing couple of weeks, right? It's not always going to be putting bat on ball and getting those big swings, because, I mean, in many ways, that's what's gotten Fabo in trouble in the first place. But it's those long at-bats, it's those good defensive swings, it's the ability to stay competitive with every pitch. And when they end up like that, even better. You just get to walk down to first.
And, of course, he's been excellent again at third base tonight.
It's been a staple of his entire career here thus far.
Breaking ball, slider caught the outside corner, strike 1 to Ray Placencia. Struck out looking in the first. Reach on an error in the fourth. Doubled to left center and came around to score on the Sergio Rivera single back in the sixth. High drive, right center field. That's going back, and it's going to hang up in the wind. It's dropped! Cruz dropped the ball out in center field, but out at second, trying to extend it to a double is Placencia, and that's the end of the inning anyway. Well, that's unfortunate. Cruz couldn't make the play in right center after a long run, and then Ray Placencia, who had held up thinking that was going to be caught, tried to extend it to a double and gets caught being greedy. So the Wildcats don't get one. They go to the 8th. 6 outs to get for the Cats. They lead 3-1 here on the CatEye Network. To the 8th we go. The Wildcats squander an excellent chance to extend their 3-1 lead in the bottom of the 7th.
Leading off for the Rattlers.
And now,
Brody Popple.
it's the top hitter for Florida A&M, Brody Popple, to face Yoancel Diaz, swing and a miss at a 12-6 curve 0-1. Popple tonight was hit by a pitch in the first and stranded on third, grounded out to the first baseman unassisted and popped up on the infield to the shortstop. Line foul out ahead of the breaking ball, 0-2. It sounds like Popple's using a wooden bat. And I know
Now
that,
it did, for sure.
I know it's not because you don't do that in college. But it even kind of looks like it, too. 0-2. Fastball upstairs, 1-2. 100, but I definitely saw Florida A&M warming up with a wooden bat in BP this afternoon. Fastball upstairs, 2-2. Yo-Yo Diaz trying not to lose Brody Popple here after being up 0-2. Breaking ball, just a little bit out ahead of it is Popple. Foul away, first base side, count holds. But as good as Yo-Yo Diaz's stuff has been, he's one of those guys that if opponents get a good enough look at him, he will give up some hard stuff. Popple barely stays alive, fouls it off his foot, and he limps away.
One of the things that's been interesting about Diaz this year is his delivery's changed a little bit, and he was already a pretty vertical delivery to the plate, but I think he comes even more over the top, almost to the point that he's leaning a little bit more when he's throwing it. I think that's added a little bit of tick to his fastball. I mean, he started doing it in response to some shoulder stuff, some injury stuff, but I think it's added a little bit to his fastball. I think it's getting a little more bite on the off speed. And I think it's really a big part of what's transformed him into just another guy in the pen to, your go-to guy in the pen.
Second time doing the 2-2 to Popple. Fastball caught the inside corner, strike three looking. What a dagger from Yo-Yo up at 94.
I mean, again, I don't think any one of us can overstate how impressed we are to watch him pitch every night and the guy that he's turned into. I mean, he's an absolute stud.
Campbell gets a sword, and it's 0-1. Name me a hitter in this league, maybe outside Cardell Thibodeau, who you would trust to hit that 94 in on the hands.
It's a short list, man. I mean, I think of Juan Cruz over at Alabama State, and that might be it.
0-1, breaking ball, misses upstairs. 1-1.
That's part of the reason Pablo Torres has had so much success in the SWAC tournament, or even going back further, Yohan Gonzalez, because they have that tick of velocity on that fastball that guys just don't see.
Swing and a miss, and a fastball outside 1-2. Yo-Yo hasn't gone very deep this season. His longest appearance was 44 pitches in 3 1/3 innings against Jackson State. Didn't give up a run on 1 hit in that appearance. In a 15-7 Wildcat win, that was the Sunday game in that series. Now that time, he came a little bit too over the top and bounced it over Rodriguez's head behind the plate, 2-2.
I need a smaller hat. That's back-to-back pitches. It's falling off.
How many times in the Southern Series a couple weeks ago did we see guys in the outfield's hat fly off chasing a ball?
Yeah, the outfield I kind of understand. You're moving quickly if it's windy.
2-2 missed with the curve, 3-2. Saw 1 inning against South Florida. Diaz didn't give up anything but 2 strikeouts, and then his last appearance was against Mississippi Valley, so 2 weeks ago. Didn't pitch last weekend against Bama A&M. Full count. Fastball, line towards short, and a leaping grab by Venegas. How about that to deny Jay Campbell a hit?
And what a great year defensively it's been for Venegas out there at second. I mean, we'd been used to the same guy holding it down there for 3 years, and new look, and he's really emerged as kind of that captain defensively out there, and that's a great play. I mean, you have to make a perfect jump on it, not to mention a literal jump after it to try to go up and snag that one on the outfield grass. Excellent play.
Now it's Josue Figueroa, called strike at the bottom of the zone, 0-1. I mentioned Diaz's last appearance, gave up nothing on a hit in 2 innings with 4 strikeouts against Mississippi Valley in that 15-5 game, also the Sunday game in that series. Fouled away 0-2 by Figueroa. Figueroa tonight, sack bunt in the first, reached on an error in the 4th, and struck out in the 6th. Swing and a miss on the check swing. Curveball, down he goes. 2 strikeouts and a brilliant defensive play by Jesus Venegas, and 1-2-3 go the Rattlers. Wildcats need 3 outs to close this one out. They'd love some more run support, though. We'll see if they can get it in the bottom of the 8th right here on the CatEye Network.
To the bottom of the 8th, shortstop number 2, Jeter Poyedo.
To the bottom of the 8th we go. Wildcats need 3 outs, up 3-1, but they'd love some run support here. Cody Williams still on the hill, and Poyedo turns on the first pitch and grounds it to the left side. That's a base hit.
Well, there hasn't been many leadoff base runners for the Wildcats tonight, and this is another spot. We talked about it between the break. You could really use 1 or 2 here to take this from feeling close to having some cushion. I mean, as much as you trust your guys in the pen, Florida A&M's been there, done that too much to go quietly.
There is chaos happening in the press box because I'm trying to do this podcast.
Well, it's pretty tight quarters here from what we're used to. Everybody's not in their little assigned areas, so it's kind of all hands on deck.
Jeter Poyedo is going to be pinch run for over at first base by Daniel Figueroa. And the batter will be Sergio Rivera. Rivera 1 for 3.
Running at first base for the Wildcats, number 20, Daniel Figueroa.
Struck out looking in the second.
Center fielder number 19,
Flied out to
Rivera.
left in the fourth, and then single to the right-hand side of the sixth. RBI-style scoring Ray Plasencia. First pitch, he squares to bunt, takes it low, ball 1. Let's go around the SWAC. Got some games finished last night. Arkansas Pine Bluff roughed up Southern 15-1 over in Arkansas. Alabama State sneaked by Mississippi Valley 8-7. I'll tell you what, Bryce, and you've been saying it all year, Valley may sneak into this thing if they take a couple more games.
I want it so bad. I want it so bad. They're so much more deserving than a weird club that's way more talented on paper in Southern that has been this fickle mess all year. Valley's been pretty consistent, I mean, for good and for worse, right? The pitching's been a little subpar, and the bats have been there.
Of course, BCU beat FAMU 8-3 last night. Jackson State beat A&M, Alabama A&M, that is, 2-0. Grambling State, it's not on here, but I did look up the score, 24-7 over Alcorn State. Ooh. And Texas Southern beat Prairie View 13-9. Those are all last night's scores. Games this evening, Pine Bluff and Southern. Live stats link is not working. Don't have a
shocker,
score.
broken.
Top of the first out in Texas. Texas Southern 0, Prairie View 0. And final already today, Jackson State 14, Alabama A&M 4. So Jackson State up 2-0 in that series. Bunted third base side. Third baseman Perez throws across to first. And jogging over towards second base to force Daniel Figueroa back there on the sack bunt.
That was a little odd.
That was a little odd. Nobody covered second, and almost nobody covered third either, so you could see Figueroa going, well, maybe I can sneak one here, and then Figueroa over at first just ran after him with the ball. So we go back to the top of the order. We already had one meeting on the mound here, and this is going to have to be a pitching change for Florida A&M because I think Shoop's out of visits. Come be a part of BCU Athletics and support the CatEye Network. If you or your business is interested in partnering with us here on the CatEye Network, you can reach out to the BCU Athletic Communications Department at BCU Sports Info at Cookman.edu. That's BCU Sports Info at Cookman.edu. And stay up to date with everything Bethune-Cookman Athletics by checking out the Wildcats on social media. Give BCU Athletics a like on Facebook and follow the Wildcats on X and Instagram at BCU_athletics for the latest on BCU baseball. Follow at one of the best hashtags or handles, in the country at BCU Diamond Cats on X and Instagram. New pitcher for Florida A&M, looking to catch a number here. So we will get you that shortly. But anyway, Cody Williams is done. 2 2/3, 41 pitches, allowed 2 runs on 4 hits, both earned. Walked 1 and struck out 1. So for the second straight night, FAMU goes deeper into the bullpen. They threw 4 arms last night, 3 now this evening. And we have a side armor lefty here.
Yeah, certainly a good variety for FAMU of the type of delivery you can get out of the pen, which I think is a pretty good strength. I mean, there was always the thing a couple of seasons ago with the Tampa Bay Rays where they had somebody, if you went 180 degrees all the way around, right, you had guys that delivered all the way from side armor on the right to side armor on the left, all the way up top, and you could kind of complete the clock of the different arm angles, and that's tough when you never know, and it's a completely different way to adjust from pitcher to pitcher. Luckily for the Wildcats, they've adjusted really well from pitcher to pitcher. It hasn't taken long many times for them to have some early success, seen a lot of these FAMU arms well, and you've got a chance here to do it again.
The new pitcher is the sophomore from Tallahassee, Carson Kelly, making his 13th appearance of the season. He's got a 2.34 ERA, best out of the pen for Florida A&M. In 34 2/3 innings pitched, he's given up 12 runs on 26 hits, Just 9 of those 12 are earned, striking out 31 and walking 18. He's given up 3 doubles, a triple, no homers, a wild pitch, 6 hit by pitches, and once again his ERA 2.31. Last time out against Mississippi Valley last week in the 5-4 win that was the middle game of that series. Went 5 1/3 innings allowed, no runs on 4 hits and struck out 1. First batter to face him is Darrell Lee, and he swings and misses for strike 1. 1 out here. Bottom 8, Wildcats up 3-1 with Daniel Figueroa pinch running on second after the Gito Poyeto leadoff single and the Sergio Rivera sac bunt. That is an odd arm angle, especially from a lefty. To a lefty like Darrell Lee to try and track out of the hand. Count full of 1s. Lee late. And it's 1-2. We got the shift on here. Shortstop playing right behind second base. Everybody else on the first base side. Lee barely stays alive. Taps it foul left-hand side. Well, as close as just the shift as you're allowed. The minor leagues now have the... Here's a 1-2. Finish my point in a second. Lee strikes out swinging 2 away. Darrell Lee had no chance at any of those, especially that slider that starts away and just continues further from the lefty.
You mentioned it. I mean, that's easy, or I should say it's hard enough to adjust from one traditional pitcher to the other. When you're going from a traditional guy to unorthodox, it's a pretty tough ask to be really competitive. Oh, it looks like we're having another intentional walk for Martinez.
That's his second of the series. He got one last night.
I really do think we're going to see a lot more of that the further we get into the season, especially in these gotta-have-it kind of series for either side.
Well, Martinez was 1 for 4 with a double to right center in the 6th, a strikeout and 2 pop-outs. And now we're going to have a pinch hitter for Jorge Rodriguez. We're going to see Jose Fernandez come in to pinch hit here. This is an interesting roll of the dice from Coach Johnny Hernandez.
I almost look at more so defensively than as an offensive piece.
Rodriguez goes 0 for 3, reached on an error in the first, but other than that, grounded out, popped out, and struck out. 2 on, 2 out. And Fernandez, nowhere near that fastball low and away to the righty. Quickly through the numbers on Fernandez, batting .333 and 39 at-bats. 10 runs on 13 hits, 4 doubles. Inside and low. Popple does a good job of keeping that one in front of him, 1-1. 8 RBI for Jose Fernandez. Last time Jose played was on Tuesday against North Florida. Frisbee slider misses inside again. And you definitely think that a right-hand hitter has more agency against that sidearm lefty because it breaks in towards you instead of away from you. 2-1. Hit him. And the bases are full of cats with 2 outs. So Figueroa goes to third, Martinez to second, and Fernandez on first.
Bethune-Cookman, second baseman.
Jesus Venegas, a guy who struggled for a little bit. He's found his footing a little bit tonight. I mean, you have a chance to put it all away with one big swing here.
2 for 3 with 2 singles and a walk tonight, Jesus Venegas. First pitch, fastball down Broadway for strike 1. Figueroa on third, pinch running for Gito Poyeto. Martinez on second after an intentional walk. Fernandez on first after being hit by a pitch. Ground ball, left-hand side, that's going to squeak through. Scoring from third is Figueroa. Here comes Martinez. The throw is bobbled by the cutoff man, and 2 more runs come in. 5-1 Bethune-Cookman.
Well, you felt like you needed the bigger swing, and you finally got it. And again, a guy in Venegas who hadn't had the best go of it the last little bit has completely turned it around tonight, and a big reason why the Wildcats are up in this game with now a really good chance to cruise through the rest of it.
Now here's Armani Newton, his second AB in place of Michael Rodriguez, struck out looking his first time up. So now Jesus Venegas on first. Jose Fernandez on second. Pinch hitting for Jorge Rodriguez at catcher. And Coach CatEye gives some words of encouragement to the FGCU transfer. Newton struck out his 23rd time on the year. In his first at-bat, that was back against Cody Williams in the 7th. 2 runs in the inning for the Wildcats on the 2 RBI single by Jesus Venegas. And now Coach Hernandez is going to protest whatever's going on here.
The officials have an issue with the time called.
You can call timeout before an AB.
Well, right, but do they have their numbers wrong of how many we've called?
Well, we've already had one weird one with the batter's interference that really shouldn't have been. The strike zone for Jose Vuelta tonight has been all over the place. Both coaching staffs upset with the officiating on all fronts. There was some close plays in the field that both teams think were botched. So a meeting that, yeah, you're right, it was about the number of timeouts. So that was the second timeout for Bethune-Cookman. So now Armani Newton will stand in.
It's not our job to rag on officials up here, but
Listen, I will defend officials more than most, but tonight some of the stuff has been pretty inexcusable.
yeah, former official, you would ride for those guys. They're still current, I guess.
I haven't officiated about 2 years. This job keeps me pretty well busy.
Still one of the stripes, man. Can't take that away.
0-1. Outside, 1-1.
It's like Gene's territory every time he gets on these broadcasts now. 90% of the time, he's just defending whatever was called. It's like, I understand, like, you don't add nothing to the broadcast, but it's still his job to defend those guys.
Outside, 2-1. Carson Kelly has come on and given up 2 here. Wildcats looking to make it even more as he misses again. And I think Darrell Lee must have told Armani Newton, like, you can lay off some of that slider stuff that starts outside because it's going to miss. Kelly behind 3-1 now. 2 on, 2 out. 2 already in the frame. Newton in the air to center. Coming in is Cruz, and he'll make the catch above his head to end the frame. But the Wildcats get 2 runs on 2 hits and 2 left. And we go to the 9th. Wildcats need 3 outs to get this one done, up 5-1 here on the CatEye Network. ninth. 3 outs to get for the Wildcats. Yo-Yo Diaz looking for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out save here. First pitch, strike outside corner to Justin Cruz, who's 0 for 2 with a fielder's choice. 2 ground outs on the infield for Cruz. Also some shady play out in center from Cruz that allowed the Wildcats to score. That's a called strike on a swing by Cruz, and it's 0-2, ball in the dirt. The defense tonight for FAMU has really been the thing that's cost him. The errors, the misplays out in center field that aren't errors but still allow the Wildcats to maybe take an extra base or come home to score. Timeout called by Coach Shoup just to talk to Justin Cruz. Cruz, the junior from Archer, Florida. Not sure where that is.
Let's find out, 'cause I have no idea either.
Do a quick Google for me. Because he might be gone soon. 0-2. Bounce to the plate, 1-2.
It's kind of, I don't know, I would say.
Kind of middle?
An hour west of Jacksonville, it looks like.
Okay, so upper middle, between Gainesville and around that area.
Yeah, ish.
1-2. Inside, didn't get the call, 2-2. That just goes to show you, I mean, you live somewhere your whole life. There's still places I've never heard of.
Yeah, if there's a city in Florida that I have not heard of, I generally guess between that region, Panhandle, it's probably
Everglades,
where you'll find it. Even then, we have so many Miami kids. I feel like I know those by now.
Fouled straight back by Cruz to stay alive. Yo-Yo up to 19 pitches. This next one will be 20. He's trying to get 3 outs here. Cruz in the air, left center and deep. Back towards the track, towards the wall, and it's gone. Off the scoreboard for Justin Cruz, and it's 5-2, and now you feel thankful for those insurance runs just like you did last night.
Absolutely. You said it, 2 straight nights where you felt in control, you didn't feel behind the 8 ball, but you always kind of knew that no lead was safe, and a 3-2 is a lot different than 5-2. You still got quite a bit of cushion to work with here. Just don't let FAMU put a couple guys on and get a true rally in.
So both runs for the Rattlers tonight, they're their only 2 hits, 2 solo home runs. That's it. That's all they've had. Here's Ben Kim, 0 for 3, 2 flyouts to center and a strikeout looking. First pitch. Did that catch the bottom of the zone? Couldn't tell from the umpire's signal. Strike goes on the board, so we'll call it 0-1. It looks like Yo-Yo's trying to do a little bit too much. He's over-rotating on that fastball and missing it low.
Definitely some guys ready in that pen to take over should things get dicey here.
Meaning with only Zambrano going last night, you have your full complement of guys out there. Carrasquilla, Schaefer. Rosas should the need arise. There's a called strike on a breaking ball, 1-2.
And you can be especially, lenient considering that Edwin Sanchez, your Sunday starter, has been one of your better arms over the last couple of weeks.
Swing and a miss. Ball in the dirt. The flip down to first by Irvin Escobar, who's now playing catcher. That's the 4th strikeout in 6 batters for Yo-Yo.
He's just been everything you could ask for and so much more. That pitch mix. Only got the 2, right? But the way they work together and the way he's able to locate, even now, working in to another inning is so impressive.
Caden Slappy's got a pinch hit for Matthew Perez. Slappy came on to pitch hit last night for Colton Riles. Walked and scored in the 7th, struck out in the 8th in his 2 plate appearances. And he's ahead 2-0 after 2 balls low by Yo-Yo. I just think Diaz needs to attack guys here. He's 2 outs away. Put the home run behind you. Fastball, caught the outside corner, 2-1. And even 30 pitches in, which is approaching the ceiling for Yo-Yo, he's still roasting those fastballs in there. 2-2 now. Took something off of it and got him to swing on the sinker, and Slappy goes down. 1 out away for the Cats.
Tonight's been a textbook example, right? Of you got the 2 solo shots, but they're never going to define a night, right? It's the big rallies. And again, another example in this inning of you're completely avoiding that, not giving FAMU any chance to build any true momentum, any true rally. Shut them down.
Fastball right down Main Street. 0-1 to Jordan Brown, who's the last chance saloon for FAMU tonight. Brown walked in the second, flied out to left in the fifth, and reached on an error in the seventh. That one just a little bit low, 1-1.
Squeezed a little bit on that one. I thought that was a good pitch.
Yo-Yo breaking ball. Ooh, that one missed outside. And now you're right, the strike zone from Vuelta's tightened up a little bit here. There have definitely been calls like that have been called today. 2-1. That one just a little bit too far outside. 3-1. And how many times yesterday did we say, oh, with 2 outs and now they got a base runner and now you got stuff to worry about? You don't want that here. 3-1. Swing and a miss. Ran the fastball up and in, and it's full count. Wildcats a strike away.
I see no reason not to go right back to the high fastball here.
I don't think Yo-Yo's thrown but 2 breaking pitches in this inning. It's all fastballs all the time. Up there in the mid-90s. Yo-Yo sets from the stretch. Off the end of the bat, Brown stays alive. These 2 teams will run it back tomorrow. Is it a 3 p.m. start out here?
2 p.m.
2 p.m. start, my apologies. 3-2. Got him! Strike 3, curveball, finds the zone, and this one belongs to the maroon and gold. The Wildcats have taken the series from Florida A&M for the 3rd straight year here at home, and they have a 2-game cushion on top of the conference standings.
And what a response, right? You look back, all the way back now to the Southern Series, right? And sure, it was a doubleheader, but you came out and you took the 18-1 win, came right back and got smacked around. This was very much a spot for the Wildcats where I wouldn't have been surprised at all to see FAMU come back swinging, especially after the way it started. First pitch goes over the wall, you're down 1-0. And it could be very easy for FAMU to take that, really run with it. The Wildcats get a little bit frustrated, swing a little bit too much, do what we've seen them do a handful of times this year, and head on back with a rubber match tomorrow. But imagine how huge it is now for the Wildcats to roll into Sunday with the series win already under their belt. FAMU scrambling to try to avoid a sweep and putting themselves in a really precarious position when it comes to that 1 seed. Now you've got all of that. You've got your bullpen still has everybody but your top 2 guys ready to roll. You got all hands on deck. You got a guy who's had a really great couple of weeks in Edwin Sanchez. And you have already secured first place heading into next week, regardless of the result tomorrow. A massive bit of grit, a massive bit of resilience to come through, even when we were locked at a stalemate for 6 innings tonight. A really, really impressive win. Another, I think in many ways, a complete win that we saw just like last night, going back into the midweek. There's a lot to be happy with, a lot to be proud of the way the Wildcats have come out to start this series.
There's a lot of celebration going on out there with the maroon jerseys. They know this was big. I think they're rallying around Yo-Yo a little bit, who shut him down at the end. Final line score for tonight. For Bethune-Cookman, 5 runs on 8 hits. They committed 2 errors and left 9 on base. And for Florida A&M, they scored 2 runs on 2 hits, both solo home runs, 1 in the first, 1 in the 9th. Really all you can ask for your pitching right there. And what we came into this series, right, we thought it might be a slugfest because short porch out and left, both teams, traditionally good hitting teams, and the pitching for the Wildcats has just shut the FAMU bats down 2 straight games.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It was a spot that we were a little, I guess, uneasy to say the least about heading into a series like this, heading into the postseason. There's a spot that, again, on paper has been good, if not you even want to say great in terms of this conference, but never really felt as in control as they had in years past. And we were really relying a lot on the lineup to take that load off, to give that bit of confidence, to, keep you around in these games while the pitching figured its way out. But there's 2 back-to-back nights where it's felt like early it's been a little dicey, but then very quickly, not wasting too much time, settling in, avoiding the big inning, avoiding stringing hits together, stringing walks together, really locking in, really 2 great performances. Some of the best we've seen Bocabello and now Corey look on the year. Really strong way to take this series here.
I want your opinion on something. How much of this is rivalry game? The team gets up for a rivalry game. It's at home. They haven't lost a FAM at home in 3 years. How much of that plays into it?
I think a fair amount. I'll say on FAMU's side, I'm a little, I guess disappointed is the word, because it doesn't feel like we've seen that energy from them. And for a crew that is such a veteran group that's now been and seen the Wildcats. Some of these saw them all the way back in the championship game a couple of years ago. I thought there'd be a little bit more fire, especially with them holding the 1 spot to come into our place, even if it's not the Jack, right? Our place, good crowd, come in and try to silence everybody, take that first place spot and really put it in their hands and give the Wildcats, very little chance on the way out. But they haven't really played with that kind of energy. There's been a lot of innings where they've just been kind of these lazy swings, these lazy pop-ups, lazy grounders. I haven't quite seen it from them, and I'm surprised with the veteran coaching staff, guys who've been there so long, veteran roster. It's been the Wildcats that have really played with a lot of that energy on both sides of the ball, and I'm interested to see now with FAMU maybe not quite in desperation mode, because that might be a little too strong for where they're at right now, still very much capable of coming back through the rest of this year, but I'm interested to see how they respond trying to avoid the sweep.
It's the errors for me, right? The 3 errors that counted. There were a couple more that maybe were questionable, that could have been errors and that allowed the Wildcats to get extra bases or come home at times tonight. It's just sloppy play in the infield for Florida A&M, and that was really the thing that drove Bethune-Cookman tonight. Final line score, Bethune-Cookman 5 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors, 9 left. Florida A&M 2 runs, 2 hits, 3 errors, and 6 left on base. Winning pitcher Joel Corey, his record now 4-1. Losing pitcher Cody Williams, his record now 2-2. Yoancel Diaz gets the 7-out save. We're now joined by Coach Hernandez here on the Wildcat postgame show. Coach, I'm gonna start this off for the second night in a row talking about the pitching. When we thought this was gonna be a slug-it-out, high-scoring series, the pitching's been excellent. And I want to start with Yoancel Diaz because he came in at a tough spot, got 7 strikeouts in 2 1/3.
Yeah, I mean, both of those guys, Yo-Yo came in, first and second, probably could have gave Coda another AB, but we felt better with the matchup, with Brown in that inning to get us out of there. And, Coda, just piggybacked off what Boca did last night. So that's 2 back-to-back really good outings from our starting pitcher. Now we're looking, for Edwin to be able to repeat, what we did today.
And tonight, the bats weren't as good as they were last night. You scored the 5 runs. You had to scratch it across a little bit and play some small ball and just take what the offense gives you at times because, you saw that home run in the first inning for them. Darrell Lee comes back for us with a home run, and then nobody got a hit for the next 6 innings, and it was just kind of pitching and defense led the way.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on, not being one-dimensional as far as an offensive standpoint. We have to be able to move runners on. We got to get the bunts down. We have to do what we need to do in order to be successful when, obviously the long ball is not going to be there for us, and that's fine. That's one of the things, again, that we pride ourselves in not being one-dimensional. You're able to put together an offense that can swing it with the best of them, but when you have a gritty game like today, we can get bunts down, good base running, do what we need to do to be able to have success at the end of the evening.
Up here on broadcast, we've maligned a little bit. The team starts swinging for the fences a little bit too much, and I saw you talking specifically to Fabo and Martinez kind of late in the game, just after they had some unproductive at-bats. What were those conversations like?
No, just stay the course. At the end of the day, we have an approach that we're going to go by, and we're going to take what the pitcher gives us, So, those guys, again, man, they've done a really good job the entire year, and it's just sometimes they get a little out of whack, and we just got to bring them right back in. And again, just a really good win, and we won the series. But now tomorrow's another day. They're going to come out ready to play, and then, like I said last night, enjoy it while we're having dinner right now, but turn the page. We got another one tomorrow.
Congrats on the win, Coach. Won the series. Go for the sweep tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
You got it. Hail Wildcats.
Once again, your final line score, Bethune-Cookman 5 runs on 8 hits. They committed 2 errors and left 9 on base. Florida A&M 2 runs on 2 hits, both solo home runs. They committed 3 errors and left 6 on base. The winning pitcher, Joel Corey, his record 4-1. The losing pitcher, Cody Williams, his record 2-2. Save goes to Yoancel Diaz, his first of the season. Time of the ball game, 2 hours and 45 minutes here at Sanford Memorial Stadium. For Bryce Hornowski on broadcast with me and our entire Wildcat crew here at Sanford Memorial Stadium. My name is Michael Torello, saying so long, and we'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. for the finale of this 3-game series.